Part 216. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2152. Turning on the light, Xiang Yun immediately discovered a problem, that is, there was no way to take a bath here. Although it was said that he could use an electric kettle to boil hot water and wipe himself in the room, there was a person of the opposite sex separated by a cloth. Xiang Yun also concluded that Zhang Xiangbei would not peek when he took off his clothes and wiped himself. But for a girl, just making that water sound and being heard by the other party is embarrassing enough. But how could it be possible without taking a shower? Although the weather here is not very hot yet, summer is about to enter. They ran here from Lanzhou today, and they definitely need a good wash after running all day. Xiang Yun thought for a while, then rushed to Bulletin and said, "Am I coming?" Zhang Xiangbei said yes. Xiang Yun lifted the cloth and walked over, and said to Zhang Xiangbei, "I have a question." "There's no place to take a shower, right?" Zhang Xiangbei said. It seemed that he had also thought about this problem. "Say yes to Evian. I've observed it, and it doesn't matter to me. Just go to the faucet and rinse it with water." Zhang Xiangbei said that although the weather is not hot yet, he can still bear it even if he is washed directly with cold water. It is dark outside and he is not afraid of being naked. He is not naked buttocks, but Xiang Evian, if he is only in the room there was no way to take a bath inside, you could only wipe it, but it didn't seem to work just by wiping it. Zhang Xiangbei came up with an idea and said, "You can go to the toilet to wash up." One sentence reminded Xiang Yun that she was right. Zhang Xiangbei stood up and said to Xiang Yun, "Let's go take a look." The two people walked out and opened the door. With the light coming from the door, they could see the way to the toilet. The two people walked over and realized that it was a mistake to come without a flashlight. Zhang Xiangbei thought there was a lighter in his pocket, so he asked Xiang Yun to wait by the pool. He walked to the door of the men's toilet, and a stench hit his nostrils. Zhang Xiangbei lit the lighter and found the one installed at the door of the toilet. The switch clicked on, but the light inside did not light up. Zhang Xiangbei looked up and saw that there was only a lamp holder on it, not a bulb. "Then I walked to the women's restroom next door and found the switch in the same place. I clicked it twice, but the light didn't come on." Zhang Xiangbei retreated to the edge of the pool and said to Xiang Yun, "There is no light, you are here, I will get the flashlight." Zhang Xiangbei walked a few steps and found Xiang Yun following him closely. Zhang Xiangbei looked at him and muttered to Xiang Yun, "It's dark there." The two people went back to the room, took the flashlight, and walked back to the toilet. They walked to the door of the women's toilet first, and shined the flashlight inside. The two were so surprised that they almost vomited out their dinner. They saw 3 squatting pits inside. The squatting pit was full of shit, the toilet was full of suspicious-looking waste paper, and there were puddles of shit in the corner. The two people quickly retreated. Xiang Yun did not dare to go forward. Zhang Xiangbei took a flashlight and went to the men's room to take a look. The men's room was also in the same situation, and it was even worse. Even the urinals were blocked and there was dirt inside. There was half a pool of urine, and the surrounding walls had not been spared, and were covered with all kinds of obscene words and pictures. Zhang Xiangbei walked back to the pool and scolded Yun, "This Madamu is too lazy. He doesn't even do hygiene. How can he enter such a toilet?" Zhang Xiangbei laughed and said, "I can guarantee that Madamu will finish defecating at home every day before going out. Whenever he poops, he will hold it in and go back to defecate. He has never walked in here before." The two of them stood there looking at each other. There was no way to take a shower, but if there was no toilet, they wouldn't even be able to go to the toilet at night. Wouldn't they be suffocated? You can't just let yourself go completely when you get here and urinate everywhere. Zhang Xiangbei said to take a walk and see if there are any tools. "Let's clean out one first and we'll talk about the others tomorrow." I hope the toilet isn't blocked. They returned to the corridor and found a broom and a shovel in the corner of the village committee office. Zhang Xiangbei returned to the room, took off his shoes, put on a pair of slippers, picked up the bucket, and Xiang Yun explained. It's so disgusting. I'm afraid you'll vomit. I'd better clean it up and call you after I finish. What are you afraid of? I'll go with you, Xiang Yun said, and went back to his place. He also took off his shoes, put on slippers, and came over with a bucket. The two people went to the toilet with buckets, brooms, and shovels. The condition of the women's toilet was slightly better than that of the men's toilet. They decided to clean the women's toilet today. After entering the toilet, Zhang Xiangbei tied a flashlight to the door handle so that there was light in the toilet. Xiang Yun couldn't help feeling nauseated, but she still had the courage to go inside. Zhang Xiangbei seemed to know. He said, "Just help me carry the water, and I will do the cleaning. I also need to check first to see if these squatting pits are blocked." Say yes to Evian. Zhang Xiangbei found a stick from behind the door, and poked it into each pit. Fortunately, the stools that came out had been there for a long time, and some were dry and caked, so they didn't look so disgusting, but every time when you poke it, a stink will come out. Zhang Xiangbei poked for a long time, and the stool in each squat pit became shallower. It seemed that there was no blockage. This made him happy. He took the buckets of water brought by Xiang Evian and poured them into the squat pit. The feces in the squatting pit were washed away. Zhang Xiangbei picked up a shovel and shoveled the feces in the corner of the toilet that could not be squatted down. He shoveled it into the squatting hole with a shovel and rinsed it with water. Then, he picked up the broom and swept out all the suspicious papers. He swept the men's room first and dealt with it tomorrow. Then he washed the entire floor with buckets of water until it was confirmed that it was clean and he could enter. When he arrived, he was already sweating profusely and had been cleaning the toilet for more than an hour. Standing at the edge of the pool, the two people took the water in buckets and rinsed their feet. Zhang Xiangbei then took 2 full buckets of water and carried 1 bucket back in each hand. They used the 2 electric kettles to heat them. Hot water. While Xiang Yun was boiling water, Zhang Xiangbei took 2 folding chairs to the toilet, so that later, Xiang Yun could put the wash basin on one chair and put clothes on the other. After the water was boiled, Zhang Xiangbei carried 2 buckets of hot water to the toilet. Xiang Yun took an empty bucket and a wash basin. There were towels and shower gel in the wash basin. After thinking about it, he put in another bottle. Perfume. Zhang Xiangbei put 2 buckets of hot water on the ground and brought in a bucket of cold water. He looked at the toilet without a door and said to Xiang Yun, "You go ahead and wash it, I'll watch it for you outside." Xiang Yun blushed, lowered his head and said Zhang Xiangbei walked out, picked up the bottle of perfume from Xiang Yun, raised it and sprayed it around, and then began to take off his clothes. Xiang Yun washed her body carefully with hot water, pursed her lips and kept smiling. She heard Zhang Xiangbei singing not far away. Xiang Yun had never heard Zhang Xiangbei singing before, and he was singing now. Xiang Yun knew that first, he was telling her that he was not close to the door and was still far away from the door. Second, he was telling her that he was always guarding for her outside to reassure her. Listening to Zhang Xiangbei's singing, Xiang Yun felt warm in her heart. Xiang Yun dried herself and put on her clothes. She picked up the flashlight, walked to the door and shined it towards Zhang Xiangbei. Zhang Xiangbei walked around, still singing, and waited until the light of the flashlight came to him. He immediately stopped talking, ran over, and asked, "Are you done washing?" Xiang Yun nodded and said, "The singing is really ugly." Zhang Xiangbei chuckled. The two people packed up their things and walked back. As they walked on the road, they said to Evian, "Thank you, you have been busy for so long just to let me take a bath." Zhang Xiangbei smiled and said, "It's a small matter." The two of them went in through the door on Zhang Xiangbei's side. As soon as Xiang Yun walked to his side, he heard Zhang Xiangbei say, "Now I'm going to take a shower." Walking to the door, he added, "I'm relatively simple." Xiang Yun turned off the lights on her side and stood in front of the window. She saw Zhang Xiangbei holding a bucket of water in the shadow of the flashlight beam at the pool and pouring it down from above her head. Wow, there was a sound, and there was a white light there, followed by the sound of a bucket collecting water. Xiang Yun stood there and watched until she saw Zhang Xiangbei walking back shirtless and carrying an empty bucket. Then she left the window and turned on the light. Zhang Xiangbei walked back to the room and shouted to Buletin, "I'm changing my pants, don't come over." Xiang Evian said, "Oh." The two of them were lying on the bed, talking through the piece of cloth in the middle. Zhang Xiangbei asked Xiang Yun, "You are familiar with this place. Tell me, where should we start tomorrow? In my opinion, before renovating this village, let's renovate this place first. Basic living conditions must be met," Xiang Yun said. "It's not that scary," Zhang Xiangbei said, "people are like this. It's a little difficult on the first day today, but you'll get used to it." "I can't get used to it. Besides, this will be the location of the company in the future. The rooms upstairs must be used for offices, people to live in, and a canteen. We can't all go to the villagers' houses to eat," Xiang Yun said. "That's right, let's start at the same time," Zhang Xiangbei said. "Tomorrow we will come up with a renovation plan here." "At the same time, isn't the village party secretary coming tomorrow? Let's meet first, communicate with him, and see what he is doing. Regarding your opinion, even if the strong dragon is here, you still have to listen to the local snakes. Say hello to Evian." Zhang Xiangbei's phone rang. He looked at it and saw that it was Xiangnan. Zhang Xiangbei picked up the phone and said to Xiangnan, "I'll call you outside." Zhang Xiangbei hung up the phone, quickly got out of bed, put on his coat, walked out, walked to the basketball court, walked to Xiang Yun's car, and then picked up the phone and dialed. "Where were you outside?" As soon as the call came through, Xiangnan asked, "Where were you just now?" "In the room, now go outside," Zhang Xiangbei said. "Why, you can't answer the phone in the room?" Xiangnan asked, surprised. Zhang Xiangbei laughed. He told Xiangnan about the layout of their room, and told Xiangnan that there was only a piece of cloth between him and Xiang Yun, so he couldn't let her listen to our phone conversation. Xiangnan also laughed and said, "It's so miserable. It's just like when we go on tour in the countryside. When we go to the countryside, it's the same. There's a partition in the middle, with men on one side and women on the other. The troupe can't even afford the accommodation," Zhang Xiangbei asked. "Where can I find a hotel in the countryside?" Xiangnan said, "By the way, you are so smart, why don't you stay in a hotel?" Zhang Xiangbei was stunned for a moment and laughed. "There are dozens of people in a group, and fellow villagers can't even accommodate them in their homes. I can do that, and the local people will make arrangements wherever they go, but I can't throw so many people on the stage and make beds on the floor, and go to sleep in other people's homes. Are you right?" Xiangnan asked. Zhang Xiangbei said yes, he is very enlightened. "Come and give me a kiss." After kissing Xiangnan, Zhang Xiangbei said, "The back of the hand again." Xiangnan giggled, "Then where do you want to kiss?" "I'll go and kiss you on the lips. Are you willing?" "Don't even think about it," Zhang Xiangbei said. After making the call, Zhang Xiangbei went back to the room. He saw that Xiang Yun's side had turned off the lights. Zhang Xiangbei asked, "Are you asleep?" There was no sound over there. Zhang Xiangbei thought that he must have fallen asleep. He originally wanted to tell Xiang Yun that if he wanted to go to the toilet at night, just call him. Xiang Yun was not asleep. She was lying with her face sideways. She heard Zhang Xiangbei's distant laughter, heard Zhang Xiangbei opening the door and coming back. She also heard Zhang Xiangbei asking if she had slept. She did not say anything. I feel that the corners of my eyes are already moist. Thank you for your monthly votes from Daos Hung 123 and Wang Qingxi. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2153. When Zhang Xiangbei woke up, he heard that Xiang Yun had gotten up over there and seemed to be making breakfast. Zhang Xiangbei was lying there, with a blackboard above his head. On the blackboard, 8 words: study hard and make progress every day, were engraved on red glossy paper. 3 of them were missing, but the place where the words were pasted was particularly white and clear. The words good, heaven and Xiang are left behind. Half of the word study has been peeled off from the wall and hung down. The wind comes in from the open window. The word study drooped on the wall rises and falls in the wind, making a slight rustling sound, and like it is itself making the voice of learning, tirelessly. Zhang Xiangbei sat up. He sat on the edge of the bed in a daze for a while, and then started to get dressed. Hearing the movement, the sound next door stopped. Xiang Evian raised his ears and listened for a while, and then asked through the cloth. Are you up? Zhang Xiangbei is right. Go wash your face and brush your teeth, I'm cooking dumplings, Xiang Yun said. Zhang Xiangbei said yes. He stood up, walked to the washstand, put the towel and toothpaste and toothbrush cup into the wash basin, returned to the bed, took out his backpack from the bedside table, opened it, and took out a shaver. Su Dao also put it in the basin, opened the door and walked out. At around 7 o'clock in the morning, the sun was already shining brightly on the basketball court in front of the door. Zhang Xiangbei saw 3 people on the basketball court. 2 of them were the little girls who followed them yesterday. The 2 girls were squatting on the basketball court. There, they were drawing something on the ground with branches in their hands, and their eyes glanced this way from time to time. Zhang Xiangbei knew that they were waiting for Xiang Evian, and couldn't help laughing. There was also a guy who looked to be in his 30s, with shaggy hair and a pair of cloth shoes on his feet. His face was blurred because of dirt. It was already June. He seemed to be wearing a large and dirty cotton coat. He was walking around Xiang Evian's car, and from time to time he put his face to the car window and looked inside. Zhang Xiangbei thought that this was a person with a broken brain. There seemed to be 1 or 2 such people in every village. They were not mentally normal, but they were harmless. Zhang Xiangbei did not take it seriously at the moment and allowed him to continue to surround the car. Change. The 2 girls stood up immediately when they saw someone coming out of the door. Seeing that it was Zhang Xiangbei and not Xiang Yun, they sighed in disappointment, squatted down again, and drew random pictures on the ground with branches. His eyes continued to glance this way from time to time. Zhang Xiangbei walked to the pool, brushed his teeth and washed his face. There was no mirror, so he could only shave by feeling. After shaving, he reached out and touched his chin to see if the place where he poked his hand was clean. He shaved twice and touched it again. It seemed to be okay. He put everything into the basin and walked back with the basin. The door to Xiang Yun opened and Xiang Yun walked out. She originally wanted to come out to see if Zhang Xiangbei was okay, but she saw the 2 girls. The girls also saw her and stood up quickly. Xiang Yun waved to them and said, "Come here. Turn around and disappear through the door." The 2 girls hurriedly ran over there. Zhang Xiangbei stopped and looked at them with interest. When they ran to the door, Xiang Yun reappeared at the door with 2 packs of Oreos in his hand. Each of them was given a bag, and the 2 girls grabbed the Oreos in their hands and hugged them to their chests, for fear of being snatched away. They even forgot to say thank you, turned around and ran away. When they ran past Zhang Xiangbei saw that their faces were flushed with excitement. The guy who was surrounding the car saw Xiang Yun coming out. He also walked over and shouted, Sister Xiang, when will the money be distributed? I don't even have food to eat. As soon as this guy spoke, Zhang Xiangbei understood, and it turned out that his brain was not abnormal. Xiang Yun glared at him and cursed, "Go away, you deserve to starve to death. You bastard, how can you?" This guy was furious, yelling and heading towards Evian. Zhang Xiangbei held the wash basin in his left hand and stretched out his right hand to block the guy's chest. "Go away," Zhang Xiangbei ordered. He glared at Zhang Xiangbei, who said, "Don't look for trouble. Believe it or not, I'll beat you up." This guy looked at Zhang Xiangbei. He was half a head taller than him. He was definitely no match for him in a fight. The most important thing was that this was an outsider he had never seen before. If he hit him, he would disappear immediately, and he would be equal to him. The beating was in vain. The guy was immediately discouraged and cursed angrily, "I'll settle the score with you later." He turned around and walked away angrily. When he passed by Xiang Evian's car, he punched the hood of the Toyota Cross Country, causing his own car to break. The hand hurt from the impact and grinned. Zhang Xiangbei and Xiang Yun looked at it and couldn't help laughing. "The dumplings are ready, come and eat the dumplings," Xiang Yun said. Zhang Xiangbei agreed, and walked into Xiang Yun's side with a wash basin. He saw that Xiang Yun's bed had been neatly made, and 2 bowls of dumplings were placed on the dining table. "There is a bottle of chopped pepper." The two of them sat down to eat dumplings. Zhang Xiangbei asked, "Who was that person just now?" "Erpai, a well-known scoundrel in the village. He is lazy all day long," Xiang Yun said. "Everyone in the village hates this guy. His parents are no longer here, and one of his sisters married out of town and doesn't recognize him anymore. A man who is almost 40 years old, still single, and his family is so poor that he doesn't even have a bed, so a backboard removed from here is placed on a few bricks, which is considered a bed." Only then did Zhang Xiangbei understand where the rebound was going. He asked, "With his condition, isn't it within the scope of our Sui Shivang? Have you never dealt with him?" "I have helped before, but I don't dare to help anymore after I have helped," Xiang Yun said. Zhang Xiangbei asked, "Why?" "We bought 5 lambs for him and asked him to raise sheep. Within 2 days, he sold the lambs and bought him 2 piglets to raise pigs. We knew that he would not cut pig grass, and after discussing with the kind-hearted people who were helping him, they agreed to feed him feed. We gave him some feed, but he didn't even finish the feed. After raising it for more than a month, he killed the piglet himself. While he was killing the pig, he was still under the camera. He made the person who was paired with him half-dead angry. He called him a scoundrel and a lunatic, and swore he would never care about him again. Do we dare to match him with such a person again?" Xiang Yun said angrily, and Zhang Xiangbei scolded, "It's true that mud can't hold up the wall. It's pretty good. This guy does all kinds of evil. He would lean on someone's window to peek at the women in the village while they were taking a bath. He would also block the door of a house and make sure to sleep with them," Xiang Yun said. "Aren't you afraid of being beaten if you block other people's doors?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. "My father-in-law is paralyzed in bed, my child is only 5 years old, and my husband is working outside. Then you have to come back, and you won't deal with him when you come back. If you come back once a year, what can you do to beat him to death? It's not worth a life to kill him. The worst thing I'm afraid of is that he'll just come back and lie down in your house without even being beaten twice. You were injured here and there, what should you do? You are angry, but you have also been blackmailed by him. You can't get rid of him. If you want to leave, he will do this. He will lie on the ground and hold your legs with both hands, not letting you go. Right now, when you see him in the future, don't provoke him, otherwise he will stick to you like a piece of brown candy." Zhang Xiangbei didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He said, "It's really difficult to deal with such a scoundrel." 2 little girls appeared at the door crying, and asked Evian quickly, What's wrong? Erpai, Erpai, it was Erpai who took away our things, one of the girls said in a whimpering voice. This bastard, Xiang Yun cursed. She stood up, walked to the refrigerator, opened the refrigerator, and took out a box of Dove chocolates. She said to the two girls, "There are no more biscuits. Can my sister give you chocolates?" The two girls wiped away tears and nodded. Xiang Yun opened the box of chocolates, gave 6 pieces to each of them, and said to them, "Don't cry." The two girls were holding 3 bars of chocolate in one hand and laughing through tears. Xiang Yun also smiled and said to them, "Be careful not to be snatched away by Erpai again. I'll take you out." Zhang Xiangbei stood up and said. Zhang Xiangbei sent the two girls to the gate of the village committee. He looked both ways and didn't see Erpai. He thought to himself that this guy was probably hiding somewhere to eat Oreos. Zhang Xiangbei told the two girls to hide the chocolate. The pockets of the two girls' clothes are very shallow, and the chocolates can be seen at a glance. They lifted up their clothes and inserted the chocolates into their waists one by one. The elastic waistbands held the chocolates, and the hem of the outer clothes covered their waists. The chocolate is no longer visible. The two people looked at Zhang Xiangbei, who nodded and said, "Okay." Zhang Xiangbei knelt down and said to them, "When you see Erpai, don't wait for him to approach, just run home. Do you understand?" The two girls nodded desperately. "Okay, let's go," Zhang Xiangbei said to the two girls. The two girls walked towards the village, Zhang Xiangbei followed behind. When they reached the bridge, Erpai was still not seen. Zhang Xiangbei stopped and watched the two girls disappear from his sight. Then he walked back. On the way back, Zhang Xiangbei remembered that these two girls should be about the same age as Zhang Xiangzi. Zhang Xiangzi will go to preschool this year and elementary school next year. Zhang Xiangzi has already bought Oreos and Dove chocolates. Eat as much as you can. When thinking this way, Zhang Xiangbei felt a little sad. He turned his head and looked at the place where the two girls disappeared. Zhang Xiangbei walked back to Xiang Yun and asked Xiang Yun, "Sent away?" Zhang Xiangbei nodded, "I sent it to the bridge, but I didn't see Erpai. He will come again. As long as we are here, this guy will definitely come several times a day. Even our driver who pulls goods is afraid of him. When he sees him, he will offer him cigarettes and treat him to coke," Xiang Yun said. "Why are you afraid of him? Why can't you beat him?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. "You can't rely on him. He'll be a jerk. When he's unhappy, he'll lie down in front of your car and won't get up. How dare the driver hit him? If you hit him, he'll take advantage of you when you're not paying attention or when the car is parked. If your tire is punctured or your windshield is smashed, wouldn't it be unlucky?" Xiang Yun said. "You can't afford to offend him, so you can only bribe him with small favors. Please be merciful." "In this case, we will only indulge him," Zhang Xiangbei said. "There's nothing you can do about it. Who has the time and energy to waste it with him? Eat quickly, otherwise the dumplings will get cold," Xiang Yun urged Zhang Xiangbei. "Thank you for the reward of 2 fishes at 1 up, Dal Tin Soldier, third from top to bottom, reading books every day, and 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you ZSQ. Wind and Wing, Win San Liu, No Time to Think, Lao Shenza Sang, H6 Goes Everywhere, Tian Wei Y, Humor Tribe, Book Friends 37479, Book Friends 20200731205303939448 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2154. After breakfast, Zhang Xiangbei and Xiang Yun walked around the teaching building. then walked out of the gate and walked around the entire yard, discussing how to transform this place into the company's headquarters. With his experience in Chongqing, Zhang Xiangbei was the first to think of using a classroom to transform into a small supermarket, and also using the current village committee office to transform into a medical office, where they now live. A classroom was converted into an activity room for the elderly, where people can drink tea, play cards, mahjong, and chess. With these three places, this place will naturally become the center of the village, although it is located outside the village. The second floor is the company's office and financial room, and the third floor is the conference room and the offices of the village committee members and village party secretary. They plan to build a row of two-story houses on the open space above the basketball court. At the top is a public toilet, past it is the bathroom, and beyond it is the company canteen. The second floor is a dormitory for those who need to stay here, that is, 1 or 2 people sent by their Zaixianshu. 3 rooms are enough, and there are 4 rooms that can be used as guest houses, so that people from the company who come temporarily, or those who drivers of large trucks have a place to rest. Now, they all sleep in their cars, including Feng Shengquan, who came to deliver goods before and slept in his own car at night. After the public toilets over there were built, the toilets here were demolished and a kindergarten and a nursing home were built here. Not many people played basketball here, so half of the basketball court was simply converted into gardens and gardens for the kindergarten and nursing home. Event venue. There used to be a consignment store in the village. Xiang Yun reminded Zhang Xiangbei. That store is owned by Ma Damu's family. If we open a supermarket here, it will directly affect their business. Ma Damu will not do it. Who is in charge of their supermarket? Zhang Xiangbei asked. Ma Damu's wife Xiang Yun said. Ask her to come here to contract. From now on, the workers' monthly benefits will be converted into cash and put into the card. They come here to swipe the card. This is their most basic fixed income. You can calculate it. The turnover is his current, it's more than several times, and one of the conditions is that their agency stores are not allowed to open anymore. In this way, they have made sacrifices, and others have nothing to say. That's okay, Xiang Evian agreed. At almost 9 o'clock, Li Shengfeng and Ma Damu wandered over together. The 4 of them stood on the basketball court. Zhang Xiangbei gestured with his hands and told everyone about the renovation plan here, including building a nursing home and a kindergarten. Li Shengfeng shouted. Are there still nursing homes and kindergartens to be built in the village? Zhang Xiangbei said, right, there is also an activity center for the elderly. This is also for safety reasons. After the company is established, everyone becomes a worker of the company. Since we are workers, it is different from when we were farmers. You can't come just when you want. You can leave whenever you want, and there are unified commuting times and attendance checks. When the adults go to work in the workshop, that is, in the vegetable field, what about the children and the elderly at home? Someone must take care of them, especially the children. There are many ditches, creeks, and ponds in the countryside. If something happens, right? For a family, isn't this a bolt from the blue? With nursing homes, kindergartens, and senior activity centers, everyone's worries are solved. Li Shengfeng and Ma Damu nodded repeatedly, feeling that Zhang Xiangbei was right. Li Shengfeng said. With the nursing homes and kindergartens, haha, Damu, this place is better than the countryside. I almost want to go back to the village. When they arrived at the infirmary, Ma Damu was happy. He smiled and said, isn't this the barefoot doctor is back? The barefoot doctor here was back in the days of the production brigade. It's been more than 30 years. It's great to have a medical office. For minor illnesses, we no longer have to go to the countryside. When it came to building a small supermarket here, as expected, Ma Damu's face didn't look good. Zhang Xiangbei said to him. I know your family runs a canteen. After the supermarket here opens, your wife will take over the business. Contract? If you don't come, Madamu said, my canteen is opened at home and I don't even have rent. When I get here, I still have to pay the contract fee. Mr. Zhang, it's not that I don't want to, it's the one at home. Old woman, she won't come even if she's killed. Don't worry, Accountant Ma. You can tell me whether you want to come or not after I calculate the accounts for you, Zhang Xiangbei said with a smile. If you don't come, it will be regarded as your high moral integrity and giving the benefits to others, others will definitely rush to come. What's the account, Mr. Zhang? When Zhang Xiangbei said this, Madame became suspicious and asked. This small supermarket is a subsidiary industry of the company. From now on, we will convert the benefits to workers into money every month and pay them into their cards. Workers can buy whatever they want. They can come here with their cards. Come on, do the math. Each person's monthly benefit is about 150 yuan, and the workers should be 500 to 600 yuan. Zhang Xiangbei said, the abacus in Madamu's heart has already been flipped. 500 or 600 people, that is a sales of 70,000 to 80,000 yuan a month. This is still basic, and there are those who do not use cards, or there is not enough money in the card. Okay, this matter is settled like this. I will obey Mr. Zhang's arrangements, Madamu said. However, your consignment store is going to close. In this way, when others talk about it, we can say that this is a prerequisite. If you meet this condition, you are the only one in the village, and others have nothing to say, Zhang Xiangbei said. Okay, Madamu agreed immediately. Li Shengfeng teased him, why, don't you need to go back and discuss it with the old woman? It's nothing to discuss. I can't make the decision on such a trivial matter, Madamu said. Li Shengfeng continued to tease, didn't you say that the old woman wouldn't come even if she was beaten to death? Then beat her to death and carry her over, Madamu said harshly. Li Shengfeng smiled at him, making Madamu's face turn red. What Li Shengfeng didn't say was, will you beat her to death? Don't let her beat you to death. 4 people were talking when a motorcycle rushed in from outside the door. The person riding on the car was in his 30s, wearing a tax uniform and a pair of sunglasses. There were also straps tied to the rack behind the motorcycle. A set of fishing tackle. No need to ask, Zhang Xiangbei also knew that this was Pang Shuangzi, the village aide cotter from the County Taxation Bureau, the village party secretary. Pang Shuangzi parked his motorcycle and walked towards them. He didn't need to introduce him. He stretched out his hand to Zhang Xiangbei from a distance and said he was welcome. Yesterday I heard that the boss of Zaixian delivery was here. Pang Shuangzi searched the internet and found Zhang Xiangbei's photo. He knew the other 4 people present. There was another one who he had never seen the photo. I also know that this is Zhang Xiangbei. Pang Shuangzi and Zhang Xiangbei said the welcome was sincere, and he was really grateful to Zaixian and Zhang Xiangbei. More than a year ago, the organization department and the unit decided that as a cotter to assist the village, Pang Shuangzi came to Nianzigou village to serve as the village party secretary. Pang Shuangzi felt that he was very unlucky. After 2 years there, it seemed that he was promoted to unit leader. Or the wish of the director of the finance and taxation office below is definitely in vain. When they arrived here, Pang Shuangzi, like Zhang Xiangbei, was also frightened by the rags here. His heart felt cold and he kept lamenting that it was over. Cotters who assist villages all have task targets. If I have been here for 2 years and fail to lead the villagers out of poverty and go back in disgrace, it will be a stain politically. Not only will my wish to be promoted in the past 2 years be in vain, but also even during the pre-appointment inspection, this was a veto. And if he completes the task well and is commended, then he will most likely be able to take the position of unit leader when he returns. Pang Shuangzi rode his motorcycle around the village, and his scalp was numb. Not to mention the remoteness of the traffic in this place, there was only one road to go in, and he cut off his head when he reached the bottom of the ditch, which meant that he had finished walking through their village. In addition, there are resources but no resources, funds but no funds. Not only are these not available, even the village director has run away, leaving himself here alone. He wants to be a dojo in the snail shell and lead everyone out of poverty and become rich. Pang Shuangzi himself felt that it was a foolish dream, which was harder than reaching the sky. It seemed that his future was about to be ruined here. Unexpectedly, when the Zhou incident happened, Xiang Yun came over in person. After taking a look, he then identified them as the target of the Zaixian delivery village-wide assistance, and Pang Shuangzi's troubled funds came to him. He lamented the lack of resources. As a result, the vegetables, pigs, sheep, chickens, and ducks in every household became resources and were continuously shipped out. Pang Shuangzi didn't do anything, and there was hope that this place could get rid of poverty. He could complete his tasks easily. This made Pang Shuangzi overjoyed and at the same time truly relieved. He usually didn't even come here, and delivered fresh food at home. Those probes were monitoring the vegetable fields, pig pens, and sheep pens of every household. Every household is busy. When people are busy, even the conflicts that used to exist in the village seem to be gone. Last night, Mayor Ma called Pang Shuangzi and told him that Zhang Xiangbei was here and asked him to cooperate with Zhang Xiangbei's work. Why didn't Pang Shuangzi just come here? Zhang Xiangbei shook hands with Pang Shuangzi. Pang Shuangzi held Zhang Xiangbei's hand and shook it vigorously. Zhang Xiangbei looked at it and saw that the village party secretary looked energetic and did not look like the kind of person who needed to take sick leave all the time. Why do I hear that he still needs to see a doctor? In fact, that's because his wife is a doctor at the county hospital. He goes to the hospital often, and it's easy to issue a sick leave note. Let's go to the office and talk, Pang Shuangzi said to Zhang Xiangbei and Xiang Yun enthusiastically. Suddenly his face changed and he shouted after them, "Come in again and see if I don't skin you. Let your two skins turn into one." Zhang Xiangbei and Xiang Yun turned around and saw Erpai walking in from outside the gate. Seeing Pang Shuangzi, Erpai turned around and ran out. People here laughed. Xiang Yun was surprised and asked Pang Shuangzi, "Is he afraid of you?" Pang Shuangzi smiled but didn't answer. Ma Damu said, "Erpai's whole village is not afraid of anyone. We are only afraid of Secretary Pang." Zhang Xiangbei also became interested and asked, "Why? Secretary Pang really beat him. He tied him up and carried him on a motorcycle. He said he was going to throw him into a pond. Erpai begged for mercy all the way and finally let him go. How could he not be afraid?" Ma Damu said. Xiang Yun asked Pang Shuangzi, "Aren't you afraid that he will rely on you?" "I stepped on the accelerator and left." "Where can he wait?" Pang Shuangzi asked. Zhang Xiangbei and Xiang Yun suddenly realized that this was the most important thing. "Thank you for the new monthly ticket if you forgot your password. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2155. Everyone went to the office. There were only 3 tables and 3 chairs in the office. One belonged to Pang Shuangzi, one belonged to Ma Damu, and one belonged to the village director who was still on his way back from Shenzhen. Apart from this, there are no other stools or chairs. Li Shengfeng asked Zhang Xiangbei and Xiang Yun to sit. The 3 of them sat around Pang Shuangzi's desk. Li Shengfeng and Ma Damu sat behind them on Ma Damu's desk. Pang Shuangzi took out a pack of Zonghua cigarettes, which he brought specially today, and handed them to Zhang Xiangbei. Zhang Xiangbei said he wouldn't smoke, "Thank you." "What about you?" Pang Shuangzi asked Xiang Yun, and Xiang Yun said, "I don't smoke either." Pang Shuangzi hesitated for a moment, then thought about it and wanted to put the cigarette back. Zhang Xiangbei said, "It doesn't matter if you smoke." Pan Shuangzi smiled and said, "Then I'll smoke it." He put the cigarette into his mouth and lit it with a lighter. Li Shengfeng came over. Pan Shuangzi knew his purpose and reached out to grab his cigarette. However, Li Shengfeng was quick and snatched it away, cursing. "Stingy, even if there is good smoke, I won't care." Pan Shuangzi retorted, "You are not my father, why should I respect you?" Zhang Xiangbei and Xiang Yun laughed after hearing this. This means that just now, they were Pan Shuangzi's father and mother? Li Shengfeng took out 2 cigarettes, threw the cigarette case back on the table, walked back and handed one to Ma Damua. Ma Damua held up the cigarette and said to Pan Shuangzi, "You see, Shengfeng is a better person than you." "Oh, he is borrowing flowers to offer to Buddha." Pan Shuangzi scolded, "No, no, what kind of Buddha are you? You look just like Jiagong." "That's also a Buddha," Ma Damua said proudly. Everyone joked for a while and then started talking about business. Zhang Xiangbei told Pan Shuangzi the purpose of their visit. After all, Pan Shuangzi came from the government agency. When he heard it, he knew that something was going on. He shouted, "That's a good thing, Mr. Zhang. If the corporatization transformation is completed, the farmers here will become workers. They won't have to go out to work. They can do farm work at home every day and get paid every month. This is my understanding." "Right." Zhang Xiangbei said that he was right, he would get a monthly salary and there would be dividends at the end of the year. "Ma Damua, this is an opportunity for you to change your own destiny," Pan Shuangzi said. "To be honest, once my 2 years here are up, I will go back to the county seat. Whether it is good or not, it doesn't matter. I'm bullshit, but if you don't seize this opportunity, you deserve it and make it clear to the villagers." "Is there any difference between this and now?" Li Shengfeng asked. "There are still differences," Zhang Xiangbei said. "The biggest difficulty is that now this is the village that our Zai Xianshui and Suishui help are helping. As you know, those citizens who participated in the Suishui help activities, their starting point is to help farmers, not from a market perspective. Therefore, whether it is vegetables, pigs, sheep, and poultry, the prices they give farmers are very high. Our company provides free distribution. Every cent of citizens' money will go directly to the hands of farmers. But after corporatization, everything must be operated in accordance with the market. We have calculated that this is the same for farmers. A piece of land, its output." "I understand, Mr. Zhang, the actual total income of farmers will be less than it is now, right?" Pan Shuangzi asked. Zhang Xiangbei is right, it will be like this for the time being, but it will eventually increase significantly. "I don't understand this very well. Mr. Zhang, please tell me why it will decrease temporarily and then increase significantly in the end," Pan Shuangzi said. "Forgive me for saying it so directly. We have clarified all this. Then you can go talk to the villagers." Zhang Xiangbei nodded and said, "It should have been made clear and the accounts settled. Although the farmers here have joined the Suishua Bang Assistance Program, what we do is actually just help them connect in the circulation link and make their channels clear, but we have not changed the factors of production or the farmers' operations. It is still extensive and is greatly restricted by natural conditions, such as seed selection and soil improvement. They do not do it well. The biggest shortcoming is insufficient investment. We basically rely on the weather. Take vegetables as an example. If the land is of the same size after corporatization, we will divide it into 3 types, open fields, arched greenhouses and 4-season greenhouses. Production will be less restricted by natural conditions, and output will be greatly increased. At the same time, it can also ensure that vegetables are produced every day. It will not be like now, which is not available for a while. The growth cycle of vegetables will be shortened and the utilization rate of the land will be improved. Because our production is originally planned, what should be done in which field every day, when fertilizer needs to be applied, when it can be harvested, etc., are all carried out according to our plan, just like the products are produced in the workshop of a factory. Now, all vegetables grown here are open field vegetables. Open field vegetables have two characteristics. One is their strong ability to withstand natural conditions, and the other is their low value. Basically, they are mainly Chinese cabbage, radish, green onions, etc., with high value. High-quality vegetables are all out-of-season vegetables, which cannot be produced in the open field, only in greenhouses. Farmers with single households have to invest a lot in transforming their land into greenhouses. As the saying goes, a greenhouse will last 3 years. How can the farmers here survive these 3 years? But for the company say, this is normal investment. This is true for vegetables, and it is also true for pig and sheep breeding. We will carry out large-scale scientific breeding. As long as our investment here is in place and the transformation of production factors is completed, the output and price will increase exponentially, and everyone's income will naturally increase. A rising tide will lift all boats. This is the relationship between a bowl and a pot. If everyone only focuses on their own bowl, the bowl will always be empty. But if everyone works together to find a way to keep the pot cooking, it will always be cooking. In everyone's bowl it will still be full. That's how I understand it, right? Peng Shuangzi asked. That's true in a sense, Zhang Xiangbei said. Also, Sui Xiaobang is just a charity activity. Giving love is a feeling of the citizens, not an obligation. He gave it today, and we thank him. If we don't continue to donate tomorrow, we still have to thank him, instead of scolding him and asking him to continue to donate, so there is a long and short relationship here. You might encounter trouble at home, and you might be unkind and unable to help you, Li Shengfeng said. Zhang Xiangbei is right. After corporatization, it will be a long-term guarantee for everyone. What we rely on is not love, but the sustainable operation of the company. Ma Damu, what do you think? Peng Shuangzi asked. I'm an accountant, so it's up to you to decide what I think, Ma Damu said. Slippery. You are not an accountant now, but a villager. Just say that you are a villager and I ask you to take out the land. Are you willing? Don't you know how to settle accounts? Even if you do it, will the account be settled? Peng Shuangzi explained. Whatever accounts are being settled, the accounts have not been settled yet. I'm listening to them all, Ma Damu said. What I said before is just one of the accounts. There are still other accounts that I have not settled, Zhang Xiangbei said. Tell me, Mr. Zhang, tell me quickly, Peng Shuangzi urged him. Based on our experience in other places, I also took a look here. The conditions here are better than other places. For example, in Chongqing, we also cultivated fields, but due to the restrictions of the mountains and forests, the mountains and forests cannot be moved, so we can only cultivate wasteland. After this part of the field is transformed, the benefits will be huge. The initial investment in building land is huge. This is something that individuals cannot do, but companies can do it. I say the conditions here are good because there is no vegetation in the surrounding mountains. There is no problem of destroying the mountains and forests. Farming can be done. The area will definitely be larger than other places. After this part of the land is built, its use rights belong to the village. The village can use it to invest in the company and participate in dividends, which can increase the income of the village collective. Zhang Xiangbei said. Everyone else nodded, and said to Yun. By the way, when it comes to land construction, I used to work in a real estate company. I know that in coastal provinces, you can get quotas for land construction, and this quota can be sold. For example, if you build farmland in the mountains and valleys of Zhejiang, the indicators you get can be sold to Hangzhou. This will increase the developable land in Hangzhou. I don't know if this is the case in Gansu. If so, we can increase this by building farmland. Income. Great, I'll go and ask about this. Pang Shuangzi said. Mr. Zhang, is there any more accounts that can be settled? Yes, Zhang Xiangbei said, a village with thousands of people can create GDP wherever there are people. Rural areas and farmers are not only the primary industry, they are also consumers, which can bring benefits to the tertiary industry. Are you talking about doing farmhouse entertainment or something here? Pang Shuangzi asked. This is also one of the projects that can be developed. What I am saying is that the villagers here are also consumers. It turns out that their main consumption is to buy something from Accountant Ma's agency store. That is because they have no money in their hands. After receiving wages every month, their consumption habits will also change, just like in the city. When farmers go to work in cities, don't their consumption habits have to change like those in cities? Here, farmers have become workers, and their consumption habits will also change. Besides, every household's fields have become company fields. What is still usable is the little private land in front of and behind the yard. How can we maintain the life of the whole family? They also need to buy rice, vegetables, oil, meat, and clothes. The company develops the tertiary industry, opens supermarkets, markets, and restaurants. These are the company's income. To use Secretary Pang's words before you, the pot is full. Everyone's bowls will naturally be filled. It can be done. Pang Shuangzi patted the table and said, I think there is no problem. What do you think? I don't think there's any problem, Li Shengfeng said. Other people want to do it. It's a bit difficult to convince everyone. What's in the bowl is in the pot. Farmers, you can accuse them of being short-sighted. What they're looking at is what's in their own bowl. Who cares about what's in your pot? However, Mr. Zhang and Mr. Xiang, I don't think it's a big problem if you do the fresh delivery, Ma Damu told them. Zhang Xiangbei asked, why? You have a foundation here. Listen to what you say. To put it bluntly, even the things in the bowl now are all given by you as a Zaixian. There is a big difference between them and not. If even you don't believe it, who else will they believe? Ma Damu said. It makes sense, Ma Damu, what you said makes sense, and it shows your level as a village accountant, Pang Shuangzi said. Thank you for the reward of 2 fishes. Thank you Dong Long Dong, Pingalkan Changal, and Bolank for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2156. Pang Shuangzi and Zhang Xiangbei said, Mr. Zhang, we are all laymen in this company, and you are the experts. Tell us, what should we do next? The first step is, of course, to mobilize the masses, Zhang Xiangbei said. We have information to explain the significance and prospects of this corporatization transformation. This must be distributed to every household. By the way, here for many people, those who can make decisions are not at home, so you need to send this to them via WeChat. I think we should hold a village meeting first to let everyone know about this. If you raise any questions, we can answer them on the spot. After the village meeting is over, we will hold a village group. No, there's nothing like that here, Pang Shuangzi interrupted Zhang Xiangbei. Mr. Zhang, don't think too much about this place. The director has run away, and the leaders of these village groups have no idea where they have gone. It's just us. Li Shengfeng represents the township, Ma Damua and I represent the village. Let's get this thing started. Should we wait for Lao Xiao? Isn't he already on the way? Li Shengfeng said. Wait a minute. He is a village director who has been away from home all year. He has far prestige in the village, and he is not as good as the 3 of us. If Mayor Ma hadn't insisted on him coming back, my opinion is that he would never come back, Pang Shuangzi said. You really don't have to wait, Ma Damu said. If you do this, Secretary Pang is right, and no one listens to him. It's okay to come back. He can cook for us when he comes back. Pang Shuangzi said that Li Shengfeng and Ma Dama both laughed. Zhang Xiangbei didn't know what they were laughing at, but Xiang Yun told him that the village director Lao Jiao worked as a chef in the employee canteen of a factory in Shenzhen. Zhang Xiangbei understood. Okay, then we will skip the step of the village group, hold a meeting, and directly distribute the information to everyone. Then we will split up and communicate with them one by one. If they agree and can make the decision at home, let them sign and agree on the confirmation form. For those who are not at home, send the confirmation letter to him and ask him to sign it. When signing, a video must be recorded to show that he signed it himself. Based on our past experience, this group of people, that is, those who are out of town, are not suitable for this matter is generally supported with little resistance, and those who really have to do the work are basically the people in the village, Zhang Xiangbei said. Those who have gone out don't want their land anymore. How can they object to letting white people here? If they join the shares, they can still get dividends. They must be happy, Xiang Yun said yesterday when talking about Zhou Yan's family. Ma Damu also said so. There is another reason. These people who have gone out have also seen the world and know that they need to change to have a chance, Zhang Xiangbei said. That's right, Pang Shuangzi said, Mr. Zhang, come on. After everyone agrees, the company will be established. The villagers will elect village representatives to serve as shareholders of the company and help them hold shares on their behalf. It is impossible for everyone to write it into the company's articles of association. It is also necessary to review the existing shareholders in the village. We need to evaluate the assets, because this is a three-party cooperation company between the village, the villagers, and us. The clearer and clearer the initial investigation, the less disputes will occur later. After these tasks are completed, we will start to apply for the establishment of a company. At the same time, the company's office area will be renovated here, and the roads in the village will also need to be repaired. In addition, a professional team will be invited to conduct inspections on all the land in the village. After measurement and planning, the most suitable places for growing open field vegetables will be retained and the others will be transformed into greenhouses, Zhang Xiangbei said. The road that comes in must also be repaired, otherwise our transportation will be a problem, Xiang Yun said. Workers will also have problems going to work, Zhang Xiangbei said. This road goes for more than 10 miles, and it is impossible for workers to work there to walk back and forth every day. By the way, the plan to build land must also be carried out at the same time. So that while we are organizing the land in the whole village, a lot of soil, including pond mud, can be transported to the renovated fields, so we don't have to go everywhere to find soil. Zhang Xiangbei and Xiang Yun were talking, and the other three people were calculating in their minds. What they were talking about were all things that they had never dared to think about. Everything in it cost a lot of money. If we do it at the same time, the investment will be huge, Pang Shuangzi said. Don't worry about money, Zhang Xiangbei said. Building greenhouses and building roads are what the company has to do. For the land construction, the company will first lend the money to the village, and the village will use half of its annual dividends to repay it. This part of the project money. It's because of his wealth that he speaks differently. Pang Shuangzi looked at Li Shengfeng and Ma Damu and said, both of them laughed. When will the mobilization meeting be held? Li Shengfeng asked. In my opinion, the sooner the better. We will open it this afternoon, Pang Shuangzi said. When we finish here, Ma Damu, please notify Ma Damu and let every family have someone who can take care of things in the afternoon. The person in charge will come in person. The person in charge needs to be someone who has a clear mind, not someone who is old and can't explain clearly. Ma Damu said yes. But, I'm sorry, I can't attend this meeting, Mr. Zhang, Pang Shuangzi said. Today, Saturday, the director of our unit comes down to fish, and I have to go and take pictures of this flattery. Only then did Zhang Xiangbei know why there was a set of fishing gear on Pang Shuangzi's motorcycle. What do you mean, Pang Shuangzi? You talk so enthusiastically, but you ran away on your own, Li Shengfeng asked. Peng Shuangzi smiled happily. It's important here, and it's also important to flatter me over there. I have to go back. Come on, let's just have a meeting. You are the representative in the township, and Ma Damu is in the village. The most important thing is, Mr. Zhang and Mr. Xiang are here. They are the gods of wealth, they are the most important. My humming pockets are empty, and I haven't farted even as I speak. I just heard you farting, Ma Damu said. Hard work, Peng Shuangzi said, throwing the pack of Chinese cigarettes on the table to Li Shengfeng and Ma Damu. Peng Shuangzi and Zhang Xiangbei said, I'm sorry, Mr. Zhang, this is something we have agreed on a long time ago. I can't push it away. I'll come over when I'm done. Zhang Xiangbei said it was okay. Anyway, this matter could not be done in one day. Sure, Peng Shuangzi gave a thumbs up and said to Li Shengfeng and the others, did you see that Mr. Zhang is doing big things, unlike you? A car horn honked twice outside. They turned around and saw a car parked on the basketball court. The driver was honking the horn. Li Shengfeng and Peng Shuangzi said, those who came to see you can leave now. Peng Shuangzi stood up, reached out and patted Zhang Xiangbei on the shoulder, saying, victory is over, victory is over. Peng Shuangzi walked out, and everyone watched him get on his motorcycle and drive ahead, with the car following them. Ma Dama cursed, are these people born in the year of the cat? They have almost caught all the fish in the reservoir. Everyone laughed. After the meeting ended, everyone here also stood up. Ma Damu asked Zhang Xiangbei, when will the meeting be announced? Just a little, Zhang Xiangbei said. By the way, Accountant Ma, give me your village account number, and we will send you 100,000 yuan over there, Xiang Yun said. Ma Damu looked at Zhang Xiangbei and then at Xiang Yun, wondering what he meant. Zhang Xiangbei said, this is needed to prepare the company in the early stage. You create another account. During the preparation period, people come and go. You also need to make assessments, hire people to do planning, etc., all of which require expenses. Okay, I understand, Ma Damu said. The four people walked outside. Ma Damu pulled Zhang Xiangbei. The two people fell at the back. Ma Damu whispered to Zhang Xiangbei. Mr. Zhang, we have made an agreement about the supermarket and we can't go back on it. Just listening to what Zhang Xiangbei and the others were talking about, Ma Damu's mind never stopped thinking. The more he listened, the more he felt that the supermarket would definitely be a hot commodity in the future, so he must say more. Of course, just follow what we said before, Zhang Xiangbei said. Okay, thank you, Mr. Zhang. Ma Damu turned around and went back to the office with a smile. He wanted to turn on the loudspeaker in the corner to inform everyone to come to the basketball court for a meeting at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The three of them walked to the corridor outside. Zhang Xiangbei and Li Shengfeng said, take us around and show us all the land that belongs to your village. Li Shengfeng said, yes, can we see from the inside? Zhang Xiangbei nodded. The three people got in the car and Xiang Yun drove out. Li Shengfeng and Xiang Yun said, this is the road. If you drive to the end, our village will come to an end. Xiang Yun drove the car. After leaving the village, the mountains on both sides began to close in. The widest part of the entire ravine was where the village was. After leaving the village, the road began to become desolate. This kind of dead-end road was not usually taken on. There are very few people, and people who are not assigned to the fields will not come in at all. After driving forward for 5 or 6 minutes, they could already see the mountains approaching them. The fields on both sides of the road disappeared. There was only a small stream next to the road. At the end of the road was a dam, and the stream flowed out from the bottom of the dam. The dam is 7 or 8 meters high. Peng Shuangzi's motorcycle and car were parked here. Li Shangfeng asked Zhang Xiangbei if he wanted to go up and have a look. Zhang Xiangbei said yes. The three people followed a path to the top of the dam. Zhang Xiangbei saw that this reservoir was only half the size of De Wenwen's Hongling Reservoir. There was no hydropower station, only an unattended irrigation and drainage station. The difference from there was that, Hongling Reservoir is surrounded by lush mountains. The mountains around here are still bare, let alone trees, not even grass grows. They saw several figures on the opposite side of the reservoir, probably Pang Shuangzi and the others. Does this reservoir belong to the village? Zhang Xiangbei asked. Li Shangfeng said that he was right. He learned from the reservoir built at that time in Dazai. The village's irrigation relied on this reservoir. What's the name of this reservoir? Xiang Yun asked. The official name is Dongfeng Reservoir, but no one calls it that, so everyone just calls it Nianzigu Reservoir, Li Shangfeng said. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2157. The three people came down from the top of the dam of Nianzigu Reservoir, got in the car, and drove out of the ditch. When this bad road was almost over, Nianzigu village had reached the end. 10 minutes further on, there was the seat of the township government. Li Shangfeng looked at his watch and said to Zhang Xiangbei and the others. We might as well go ahead and go back after lunch to have a meeting. Zhang Xiangbei said yes. They drove to the street where the township government is located. It was said to be a street, but in fact it was just a cement road. A two-story building that used to be a supply and marketing cooperative was divided into three and became three shops. On the wall of the house, develop the economy and ensure security. Although the color of the 8-word supply is mottled, it is still vaguely visible. The windows upstairs are open, and iron shelves are installed outside the windows. Clothes are hung to dry on the iron shelves. At noon, people shopping in the shops on the first floor are right in the shadow of these clothes. There are three shops, one sells daily necessities and stationery, and the other sells clothes. There are clothes for men, women, and children. The shop is packed to the brim. It seems like a gathering of clothing people for a convention. Some clothes look very old. In a high corner, the boss was afraid that his clothes would get dirty, so he put a plastic bag on them. A thick layer of dust had already fallen on his shoulders. There is also a store that sells dried fruits and roasted seeds and fruits. The roasted seeds and nuts are placed in large wide-mouthed glass bottles. There are only a few varieties of fruits, namely bananas, persimmons, and apples. The bananas are black and soft, and the apples are wrinkled. The persimmons look weathered, and there are persimmons placed next to them, which seems to indicate the future fate of these persimmons. Next to this building is a newly built house. The so-called new house is already a few years old, but it is just newer than the house in the old supply and marketing cooperative. This store has a great name, called Longzi Big House. Hotel is opened by two sisters. The elder sister makes breakfast in the morning, and the younger sister opens the restaurant at noon and evening. The three of them entered the Longzi Hotel. Li Shangfeng ordered 3 bowls of beef slurry noodles. The bowls were very big, like sea bowls. The portion of beef was also very substantial, with 5 or 6 thick slices. The noodles were served to Yun and Zhang Xiangbei. Explain. I can't finish all this. Can I give you some? Zhang Xiangbei said yes. Xiang Yun picked up the beef with chopsticks and put it into Zhang Xiangbei's bowl. Zhang Xiangbei said, eat the beef yourself and give me the noodles. Eating noodles will make you gain weight, but beef will not. You know so much. Xiang Yun blushed slightly and said angrily. She put noodles one chopstick after another into Zhang Xiangbei's bowl. It was almost full. Zhang Xiangbei shouted. That's enough, that's enough. I'm not a pig. How can I eat so much? Xiang Yun chuckled, aren't you going to help me lose weight, then help me more. With a chopstick of noodles in his mouth, Zhang Xiangbei couldn't help but praise, it's delicious, it's delicious. This noodle is so delicious, sour, spicy, and fragrant, much like the taste of fat beef in sour soup. What kind of noodles? The water surface is slurry, Li Shangfeng said. What is slurry? Zhang Xiangbei asked next. This time, Li Shangfeng was stopped by the question and said to Yun. Put celery, rapeseed, mustard, etc. into water and boil, scoop it up, then add flour and yeast, and ferment it for 2 or 3 days. It's ready. This noodle soup is made of slurry water, so it's called slurry water surface. Zhang Xiangbei kept nodding his head. What he was thinking in his mind was that he would let Gu Gong practice it when he went back. He must know how to make slurry water. By the way, if he used this slurry water to make vinegar, would it have the same effect but the same approach? Still ingenious? Zhang Xiangbei couldn't help laughing when he thought of this, and asked Evian. Why are you laughing? What are you laughing at? You are happy when you eat delicious food. Isn't this the case with you? You are sad and shed tears after eating delicious food, Zhang Xiangbei asked back. Go and eat your noodles, Xiang Yun cursed. After the three of them finished eating the noodles, Zhang Xiangbei stood up, patted his belly and said, no, it's already bulging into a basketball. He took out his wallet from the hip pocket of his jeans and asked Xiang Yun to pay the bill. Li Shangfeng quickly held his hand and made sure to block his hand back, saying that since he was here, of course it was his treat. The two were still arguing, but Xiang Yun had already walked towards the proprietress. Li Shangfeng quickly shouted at the proprietress not to take her money. Xiang Yun took out his wallet and handed over the money. The landlady smiled and shook her head, but refused to reach out to take it. Xiang Yun had no choice but to say to Zhang Xiangbei. Forget it, this is Lao Li's territory. Li Shangfeng laughed, Zhang Xiangbei retracted his hand holding the wallet, and Li Shangfeng went over to buy the order. The three of them went back to the village and waited for the car to turn into the village committee gate. It was only 12:30, but the villagers who had arrived early were already there. They all brought their own stools and sat in 2s and 3s in the sun chatting. In the corridor, Ma Damu had moved all 3 chairs from the office and placed them side by side in the corridor. When Ma Damu saw Zhang Xiangbei and the others arrived, he quickly asked the 3 of them to sit on the chairs. He stood aside. Zhang Xiangbei had been wondering. There were clearly stools in the classroom behind him. Why did the village committee do so? Shit, there are only these 3 chairs, not a single extra one. Zhang Xiangbei asked Ma Damu, and Ma Damu said that there were 6 or 7 of them, but they were all taken away, and no one knew who took them. Zhang Xiangbei understood that if he added more, they would still be taken away. There were only 3, and with 3 desks, no one would be embarrassed to take them away. From outside the gate, people came in one after another, carrying stools and chairs in their hands, long and short, high and low, stools and chairs of various shapes and materials. Some people even came over with a wooden packing box to sit on. Zhang Xiangbei saw that Erpai had also arrived, but he was empty-handed and did not bring a stool or chair. When he walked in, he was still timid and looked around. He saw that there was no Pang Shuangzi's motorcycle in front of the house, and there was no Pang Shuangzi in the corridor. I became bolder. Erpai walked in, walked directly to the window of the village committee office, looked inside, and saw that there was still no Pang Shuangzi inside, and suddenly became more courageous. He came over and asked Xiang Yun, Sister Xiang, did you get paid today? Xiang Yun cursed, go. Erpai giggled and said, you look good. You look so good even when you are cursing at the eldest sister. Ma Damu, are you getting paid today? Ma Dongmu turned his head and ignored him. Erpai looked at Zhang Xiangbei. Zhang Xiangbei had just received a WeChat message from Wu Huan. Mang Chao and his group's home delivery in Taipei would be launched on July 8. Mang Chao invited them. After the two went over, Wu Huan asked Zhang Xiangbei how to arrange it. Zhang Xiangbei was replying to her WeChat message, telling her that there was no sign of this place yet, and he didn't know if he would be able to leave by then. You just need to go on behalf of the company, or bring Zhou Ruyi with you. She is very familiar with Xiahua. Zhang Xiangbei told Wu Huan that if Wu Huan returned to him, I would ask Zhou Ruyi to apply for the Taiwan pass first. Li Shengfeng walked to the office and poured water for Zhang Xiangbei and Xiang Yun. His chair was empty. Erpai picked it up and left. Ma Dongmu pretended not to see it and shouted to Xiang Yun. What are you doing? Sit down, it's a meeting, there's no place to sit, I'm going to have a dick meeting, Erpai said. Zhang Xiangbei looked up and shouted, bring it back to me. Erpai walked away without looking back. Zhang Xiangbei stood up and wanted to chase after him, but Ma Dongmu held him back and whispered to him, forget it, it won't look good if there are so many people arguing. Erpai took the chair and walked to the back of the crowd, where a man sat there with his legs crossed and shaking. Li Shengfeng came out with 2 glasses of water and saw that his chair was gone. Ma Dongmu told him, Erpai took it. Li Shengfeng cursed, this bastard, and gave up. He stood there with Ma Dongmu. This made Zhang Xiangbei a little uncomfortable. He also wanted to stand up, but Li Shengfeng held his shoulders and said, you sit down, you are the protagonists today. The time was not yet 1 o'clock. Ma Dongmu stretched his neck and looked down the corridor. He said to Zhang Xiangbei that the people had almost arrived. Can we start? Zhang Xiangbei said yes. Li Shengfeng cleared his throat and shouted below. Today, we are all going to have a meeting. The content of the meeting is to transform our village into a company, that is, to change everyone from farmers to workers who get paid every month. How to change it? I will listen to Mr. Zhang and others later. Let me introduce first, this is Zhang Xiangbei, the owner of Zaixianshu, he has come to us in person, everyone is welcome. There was applause from below. No one knew Zhang Xiangbei, but they all knew Zaixian Delivery and knew that Zaixian Delivery had made their lives better. I heard that the boss of Zaixian Delivery was here. Everyone clapped. Zhang Xiangbei stood up and bowed to everyone. Then introducing Xiang Evian, Li Shengfeng said, many people know this person. She is Xiang Evian, the general manager of the Ningxia and Argansud branches of Zaixianshui. Everyone is welcome. Xiang Yun is the general manager of the Ningxia branch of Zaixianshuang. They do not have a branch in Gansu. Our Gansu branch was added by Li Shengfeng. Zhang Xiangbei thought the addition was very good. Next, the Ningxia branch, it really needs to be expanded into Ningxia and Gansu branches. The applause below was even louder than in front. Xiang Evian stood up and bowed to everyone. Many people shouted, sing, sing. Zhang Xiangbei was surprised. He didn't know what they were calling. Xiang Yun stood there and smiled, and said to everyone, okay, then I will sing a song for everyone first. What I sang today is You Raised Me and I Grew Up Growing Old with You. The entire stadium suddenly became quiet. Xiang Yun stood there, and then sang, I always want to act coquettishly in your warm arms / I always want to call you and ask if you are okay / I always want to tell you that I love you but I don't know how to express it / I want to thank you for your hard work in raising me. Zhang Xiangbei heard Xiang Yun singing for the first time, but he didn't expect that Xiang Yun sang very well. After Xiang Yun finished singing, there was a burst of applause below, and many people shouted, sing one more song. Xiang Yun quickly said, let's have a meeting today, and I will sing for everyone next time, okay. When Xiang Yun said this, everyone became quiet. When everyone calmed down, Erpai suddenly shouted. Sister Xiang, when will the money be distributed? Thanks for the tip of 2 fishes and Broken Back Mountain. Thank you and how, Zipanjiang 1, Romantic Sakura, and Hoo for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2158. When Erpai shouted, everyone burst into laughter. When everyone laughed, Erpai became more enthusiastic and continued to shout. I don't have any money to give out, but I'm still holding a stupid meeting. Sister Xiang, please give me the money quickly. Everyone laughed even louder. Li Shengfeng was extremely angry and cursed. Erpai, don't make trouble. Believe it or not, I will throw you into the reservoir. Dio Mao, I'm not even afraid of you calling Peng Shuangzi here. I'm afraid of you, Li Shengfeng, Erpai said disdainfully. Secretary Peng is back. Someone shouted. Erpai's expression changed, and he quickly looked towards the gate. There was no one there, not a single soul. Everyone laughed, and Erpai said to the person who was calling just now. Ma Deitu, go back and remove the ashes quickly. Peng Shuangzi is on your bed, humming your daughter-in-law. If you don't remove the ashes, he will. Ma Deitu, his face red, stood up and wanted to rush to Erpai's mouth. Erpai also stood up, took the chair in his hand, and shouted. Come on, Ma Deitu, if you are able, come here and see if I don't crush you to death. If I crush you to death, I will go pick up the ashes for you. Your daughter-in-law, please hurry up, you will be so happy. Several people grabbed Ma Damua, but the idiot's mouth became more and more arrogant, and his words became more and more unpleasant. It seemed that he couldn't drive anymore. Xiang Yun looked at Ma Damua, and Ma Damua was helpless. If he wants to show off at this time, he is afraid that Erpai will turn around and scold him for picking off the ashes. Look at Li Shengfeng again. Li Shengfeng doesn't dare to go there. He is young and has no ashes to pick up. But with Erpai's mouth, he is afraid that he will be associated with this woman and that woman in the village and say that he is 5 pounds. Diesel poked her pussy once. Zhang Xiangbei stood up and shouted, Erpai, come here. When Zhang Xiangbei shouted, the stadium suddenly became quiet. Erpai turned his head and asked. You call me? Yes, come here, Zhang Xiangbei said. Erpai pushed his chair to the ground and shouted, come here, come here. He threw his arms away, draped his large tattered cotton coat on his body, and swayed left and right. He walked to the front of the corridor, looked up at Zhang Xiangbei and asked, Dio Mao, why are you calling you grandpa? Do you think you are interesting? Zhang Xiangbei asked. What? Erpai looked at him. Look, you have hands and feet just like everyone else. Why don't you work hard? If a good person doesn't work, he will be a rogue, and the clothes he wears are worse than those of a beggar. Do you think it's interesting? Zhang Xiangbei asked. Dick hair, I want you to take care of it. I'm too lazy to care about you. Zhang Xiangbei smiled, I'm just curious. People like you are just wasting air when you are alive. No one will care about you when you die. Why are you still alive? Look at people building new houses. Are you jealous? If you are jealous, you should also cover it up. You see that someone has a wife, and you are envious, right? If you are envious, just be a good person and be a normal person. As you are now, even if women are blind, they won't look for you. Well said, someone in the crowd shouted. Erpai glared angrily at Zhang Xiangbei, who smiled and said. Are you not convinced? Are you still not convinced when I say you are a waste? Let me tell you, a person like you is worse than a waste. Apart from robbing children to eat and scolding the elderly, what else will you do? I can hum your mother. Erpai was extremely angry and cursed. Zhang Xiangbei was not angry, but continued to smile. He said, "My mother belongs to my father, so she won't fall in love with a bastard like you. Come on, let me tell you, you are worthy of being a rogue. You can't even be a rogue. Rogues can fight, can you? You only know how to cheat, and you can't even fight." "Dio Mao, I can beat you," Erpai said. Zhang Xiangbei originally wanted to anger him. After hearing what he said, Zhang Xiangbei said, "Okay, if you dare to fight me, you can." Zhang Xiangbei said, took out his wallet from his hip pocket and threw it on the chair. Zhang Xiangbei said, "Didn't you say when the money will be distributed? You can do it now. I allow you to rob it in front of so many people. There are more than 2,000 in this wallet. If you can beat me, it will be yours. Why? So, do you dare to rob it?" Erpai looked at the wallet and then at Zhang Xiangbei. This guy was half a head taller than him. How could he beat him in a fight? Erpai remained silent at the moment. Zhang Xiangbei smiled and said, "Okay, this way, if I fight you with one hand, I'll use my right hand. If my left hand and feet help, even if I lose, you can use your hands, feet, and head, okay?" When everyone heard this, they all shouted, "Fight, Erpai, I'll fight you with one hand. If you win more than 2,000 yuan, you'll get it, and you won't fight." Erpai looked at the wallet and his heart started to move. "One hand, do you think I am a child? Fight me with the other hand. I will grab your hand and bite you to death." "Can I use my teeth?" Erpai asked. "Okay, you can bite me," Zhang Xiangbei said. "Skinny dog," Xiang Yun cursed from the side, and everyone laughed. "If you hit me, hit me. Come down," Erpai shouted to Zhang Xiangbei. Zhang Xiangbei said yes and walked down the corridor. Li Shengfeng pulled him and said, "Mr. Zhang, don't argue with him." Zhang Xiangbei smiled and said, "It's okay, they are here to cause trouble, and I still don't meet his requirements." Zhang Xiangbei stepped down 2 steps and walked to the basketball court below. He stood in front of Erpai. Erpai took 2 steps back and took off his cotton clothes. Inside was an undershirt with more than a dozen holes. He wanted someone to hold the cotton-padded clothes for him, but everyone avoided him in disgust, and he threw the cotton-padded clothes on the ground. "Did you say start or should I?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. Erpai rolled his eyes at him, shouted start, and then rushed towards Zhang Xiangbei. Zhang Xiangbei waited for him to rush closer and punched him straight. Before Erpai could see what was going on, he felt a sudden flash in front of him. He fell to the ground. There was a burst of cheers from the crowd. Erpai was sitting on the ground, his mouth already a little swollen. Zhang Xiangbei's punch just now hit his nose and lips, and his own teeth broke his lips. Erpai looked at Zhang Xiangbei from bottom to top. His mind went blank. He could hardly believe what had just happened. Zhang Xiangbei looked at him and asked, "How about it, am I a hand?" Erpai was confused and nodded. "Are you convinced?" "Come again if you are not convinced," Zhang Xiangbei said. Erpai got up from the ground and continued to rush towards Zhang Xiangbei. After suffering a loss before, he learned the lesson this time and no longer raised his head, but lowered his head and rushed towards Zhang Xiangbei. Watching himself, his hand was about to grab Zhang Xiangbei's right hand. Zhang Xiangbei threw an uppercut and Erpai fell backward again. "Okay," everyone cheered. Erpai lay there, did not get up, but shouted, "The village cotters are beating people. The village cotters are beating people." Zhang Xiangbei took a few steps closer and shouted, "Shut up, I'm not a village cotter. Don't howl. You deserve to be beaten. You asked for it yourself. Everyone is shouting, just, beat him to death, beat this bastard to death." Zhang Xiangbei said to Erpai, "Get up and fight again if you feel like it." How could Erpai dare to get up and fight again? He was lying there screaming ouch, ouch. Be gentle, we are about to have a meeting. If you interfere with our meeting, believe it or not, I will throw you into the reservoir, Zhang Xiangbei shouted, and Erpai's voice softened as expected. Zhang Xiangbei walked back to the corridor. Xiang Yun, Li Shengfeng, and Ma Damu all looked at him and smiled. Zhang Xiangbei said, "Continue the meeting." Erpai was still lying there moaning, but his voice was not loud. Li Shengfeng said to everyone, "Everyone go back to your original seats and we will continue the meeting." Everyone around Erpai dispersed, leaving him lying there moaning alone. After the previous episode, everyone felt that today was worth it. Xiang Evian then told everyone about their plan, purpose, and future direction for coming here to promote corporate transformation. After that, he also told everyone that if you have any ideas, you can put them forward. Mr. Zhang and I will answer everyone's questions. The people below were confused as they listened. What are the shares, what is the land use rights, and what is the selection of representatives to hold shares on behalf of others? These words all sounded fresh to everyone, but they had no idea what they meant. At this time, let them say what they think. What ideas can they have? I don't know anything else. I just know that Mr. Xiang, you're delivering fresh food to your home. I can trust you. You are here to do good things. Someone in the crowd shouted. The person shouting was Ma Damu's wife. She was fat and big. In every aspect, she was the opposite of Ma Damu. Ma Damu went home at noon and told him about the supermarket incident. His wife told him that once his wife settled the accounts, she also felt that there was a lot of oil and water involved, so Ma Damu asked his wife to make noises from below during the afternoon meeting. As long as they start preparing for the company, the reconstruction of the village committee will begin immediately, and their supermarket will be just around the corner. Ma Damu's wife doesn't understand what Xiang Yun said, but she understands that the supermarket will only be completed if this matter is completed. There will be. After Ma Damu's wife called out, there was still no response, and everyone was still confused. Ma Damu's wife secretly took out a note from her pocket, which contained two things written by Ma Damu that were most attractive to the villagers. After seeing it, Ma Damu's wife shouted, "Then if this place becomes a company, will it be cheaper for us to see a doctor and so on?" Xiang Evian is right. After the company is established, everyone is a member of the company according to regulations. You must sign a labor contract. The company must pay 5 insurances and 1 fund for everyone. Everyone participates in employee insurance and your current rural insurance. In comparison, the reimbursement rate will be much higher. There was a lot of discussion below, and everyone thought this was very good. No one would have to go to the hospital in the end. Those who didn't go to the hospital didn't want to go, but they couldn't afford it. Ma Damu's wife secretly looked at the piece of paper again and asked, "After we retire, will we be able to get retirement wages like those in the county and township quarters?" Xiang Evian said yes, as long as you have paid in full for 15 years of insurance. When you reach the retirement age, you can enjoy retirement benefits and receive retirement salary every month. In this way, you don't need to rely on your children and can make your own money live well. Is there such a good thing? After working as a farmer for several lifetimes, you can still get a retirement salary. This is something that no one has ever thought about. Even Erpai, who was lying there humming, pricked up his ears to listen. Li Shengfeng knew that Ma Damu's wife was a good match for Ma Damu. When he saw that the others had no objection, he shouted, "Today's meeting ends here. Everyone comes to the front to collect the information and take it back with the whole family. We also discuss it with family members in other places. If you have any questions, you can call me at any time or go to the village committee. Come to us. We will also go to your homes in the next few days to listen to your opinions." Everyone stood up one after another, took their stools and chairs, and went to the front to receive the information. An old lady received the information and asked Li Shengfeng, "Shengfeng, can I ask my son to call you?" Li Shangfeng said, "Of course." Li Shangfeng raised his head and shouted, "By the way, for your family members in other places, if you can't explain it yourself on the phone, you can ask them to call me." Everyone received the materials and went home one after another. Only Erpai was still lying there screaming ouch, ouch, ouch. After the meeting was over, everyone dispersed, and he screamed even more vigorously. Zhang Xiangbei and the four of them stood there. Laughing secretly there, Zhang Xiangbei and the other three winked. The others understood and meant to ignore him. The four people picked up the chairs and walked into the office. "Thank you to Tian Weiwei, Not Impossible World, and Favorite Go-To for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2159. The four people returned to the office. Ma Damu and Zhang Xiangbei said, "Mr. Zhang, it seems that everyone has no objections. This matter can be handled immediately." Zhang Xiangbei shook his head and said, "That's not the case. It seems to me that everyone in the meeting hasn't figured out what's going on. It's better not to understand it. Just take the confirmation form and ask them to sign it before they understand it. After signing, it's too late to regret it," Ma Damu said. "No, we can't do this," Zhang Xiangbei said, "our work still needs to be more detailed, and we need to go deep into every household. Only when everyone has no doubts in their minds can we move forward with this matter." "Why?" Even Li Shangfeng didn't understand. He asked. "Think about it. If you get them to sign in a confused way before everyone understands it, and then they regret it later and say they were deceived, and demand withdrawal of shares or something like that, the company will not immediately fall into chaos. Can it still be done in this state? At that time, if it is neither up nor down, the biggest loss will be. On the other hand, if we have done all the preliminary work well, even if one or two farmers have such a problem, then we will have time to convince them. If it doesn't work, we can solve it according to the contract. The worst option is to go through judicial channels. At the same time, because everyone is well aware of this matter and sincerely bought the shares, they will not be easily instigated by others. One or two isolated incidents will not it evolved into group chaos and made people panic." Zhang Xiangbei told them, and Li Shangfeng nodded and said, "Mr. Zhang thought far ahead." Although Ma Damu wanted to push this matter forward as soon as possible out of selfish motives, he had to admit that what Zhang Xiangbei said was right. The four people were talking, and Erpai's voice of ouch, ouch came from outside the door. Xiang Yun was surprised. When she walked to the door and took a look, she saw that Erpai had pulled herself out of the court outside at some unknown time. He moved over and lay on the corridor outside the office. When Xiang Yun came back, he couldn't help but smile secretly and pointed to the door. The other three people went to the door to take a look, and they all came back with smiles. "It seems that he will rely on you today," Li Shangfeng and Zhang Xiangbei said. "Not afraid," Zhang Xiangbei and three other people said. "Ignore him, let's strike while the iron is hot. The three of you will now go to the villagers' houses to find out the situation. Lao Li and accountant Ma, you two are familiar with the situation in the village. You start with the house that you think may be the most difficult to deal with. Xiang Yun, you start with the person with whom you have the best relationship, so that you can grasp the opinions of all parties, and we will meet again in the evening to discuss the situation." "This is the most difficult thing to do," Li Shangfeng pointed to the door and said. Zhang Xiangbei smiled and said, "Then leave this to me." Xiang Yun was a little worried, and she asked Zhang Xiangbei, "It doesn't matter if you are alone when we leave, right?" "What's going to happen?" Zhang Xiangbei said with a smile, "Didn't you see that he can't even hit me with one hand? What else can he do to me? Don't worry." Xiang Yun was right to think about it, and she said, "Then let's go." The three of them walked out. When they passed by Erpai, Xiang Yun was really angry and wanted to kick Erpai, but was stopped by Li Shengfeng. Li Shengfeng whispered to her. He won't be afraid if he pesters Mr. Zhang, but he will be in trouble if he pesters you. Xiang Yun thought it made sense, cursed skinny dog again, and went out with Li Shengfeng and Ma Damu. Zhang Xiangbei walked out of the office and stood in front of Erpai. Erpai's hair was very long and hung messily in front of his face, covering his eyes. Others could not see his eyes, but he could look through his hair. Erpai saw someone standing in front of him. He screamed ouch, ouch, ouch even louder. Zhang Xiangbei said. Okay, stop acting. Everyone is gone. Who else are you going to show to? If you oops again, believe it or not, I will kick you. Anyway, there is no one now. Even if I beat you to death, no one will see it. As soon as Zhang Xiangbei said this, Erpai's moans actually subsided. Zhang Xiangbei looked at it secretly amused, and asked. You're tired from lying down, would you like to sit up and have a cigarette? Erpai lay there silently, Zhang Xiangbei said with a smile. There's no one around now. Get up and take a rest. Wait until there's someone around before you start humming again. My waist was injured by you and I can't sit up anymore, Erpai said. Zhang Xiangbei burst into laughter and said, but so many people have seen that I didn't hit your waist. Your waist grows on your face? By the way, your waist was injured. Do you want to hit it? Call 110 to call the police. Come on, give me your phone number. Erpai didn't answer the phone or raise his head. He continued to hum, louder again. Zhang Xiangbei clicked his tongue and said to him, I still think highly of you. I thought you couldn't be a gangster, and at best you could be a rogue. Now it seems that you can't even be a rogue. A rogue still has brains and knows who to rely on, you can't rely on anyone, you don't even have a brain. What's wrong with me? Erpai couldn't bear it anymore and asked. You relied on me, the last person you should rely on. Zhang Xiangbei smiled and said, think about it, what am I afraid of? I am a foreigner and have no home here. I live further away than Peng Shuangzi. He lives in the county seat and I live in Hangzhou. You know Hangzhou is where? Can you find the change even if I give you the money? I can definitely beat you once and for all, and then you will be patted on the butt and taken away, and there is nothing you can do about it. Erpai stopped moaning and listened to Zhang Xiangbei's words attentively. Zhang Xiangbei continued. There's no one here now. I can do anything, and you can do anything without anyone seeing it. It's not embarrassing. I'll give you two choices. Either let me beat you up again, or you get up and smoke. I'll count them. 2, 3, 1, 2. Erpai raised his head and saw the cigarette in Zhang Xiangbei's hand. His eyes lit up and he shouted, Zhang Hua. Come on, let's go on, Zhang Xiangbei said. Erpai took the cigarette, stretched out his hand and said, then I want one more. Zhang Xiangbei gave him the entire pack of cigarettes and said to him, I give them all to you. Erpai took the cigarette in his hand, sat on the ground, took out a cigarette and hung it on his mouth. Zhang Xiangbei squatted down, took out a lighter and lit it for him. He also gave the lighter to him. Staring at Zhang Xiangbei, he said, this doesn't count, this doesn't count, let me tell you, this doesn't count. Nothing, Zhang Xiangbei asked. It doesn't count as you paying my medical expenses, Erpai said. Zhang Xiangbei laughed loudly and cursed, what are you thinking? I will pay for your medical expenses. Come on, I will take out the wallet again and see if you can get it. Zhang Xiangbei stood up, kicked Erpai and said, get up. What are you doing? Erpai asked Zhang Xiangbei, blowing a puff of smoke. Are you injured? I'll take you to the hospital for a checkup, Zhang Xiangbei said. No, no, Erpai said. If you don't go to the hospital, there will be no medical expenses to reimburse. Don't regret it, Zhang Xiangbei said. Erpai held up the cigarette and smiled with a smile on his face. He said, with cigarettes, all diseases can be cured. By the way, Brother John, can you give me a few cigarettes every day? Before he finished smoking a cigarette, Dio Mao had already turned into Brother John. Zhang Xiangbei was secretly amused. He thought this guy had a sweet mouth. In terms of age, he should be more than 10 years older than himself and Xiang Yun. But it didn't stop him from shouting like a big brother or a big sister. Zhang Xiangbei asked with a smile, "Does this clear us up?" "That won't work. How can I clean up a few cigarettes?" "Then what else do you want?" "I want to wait for you to send money," Erpai said. "By the way, I am willing to share the land you mentioned earlier, and I can give you our land right away." Zhang Xiangbei couldn't help but laugh. "It turns out you were humming listening in front of me. How could I not listen to such a good thing? By the way, the land is given to you. Do I get a salary every month?" "They are two different things. To invest in a stock is to be a stock, and to be a worker is to be a worker. In principle, we will give each family a quota to join the company. If the conditions are good, for example, if both husband and wife are regular workers, we will relax the restrictions and recruit both of them. And even though he has reached retirement age, he is in good health and strongly desires to join the company, we will also recruit him. I'm the only one in my family, with a cock in front and an ass in the back," Erpai said hurriedly. "That's not okay," Zhang Xiangbei said. "The company has company rules and regulations. If you violate the company's rules and regulations, money will be deducted. For someone like you, who comes in late and leaves early every day, and molests women, your monthly salary is probably still not enough buckles." "Dai Mao, what kind of broken company does it even care about greedy women?" Erpai scolded. "Of course they will, not only the company, but also the law. Otherwise, if you try to rape a woman, see if the police catch you. In addition to rape, there is also the crime of obscenity. If you touch a woman casually, the police will also care." Zhang Xiangbei said. "Dick hair, it's too much to care about. I didn't crawl on them, and they didn't lose a hair, so it doesn't matter," Erpai sighed. Zhang Xiangbei stood up and said to Erpai, "Come on, come with me." "What for?" Erpai asked. "I'm going out, won't you follow me?" "If you don't follow me, you can run away. You won't even be able to get tomorrow's cigarettes," Zhang Xiangbei said. Erpai quickly got up from the ground and followed Zhang Xiangbei out. Zhang Xiangbei walked to Xiang Yun's car and opened the door. Erpai was still following him. Zhang Xiangbei turned around and looked. He said, "You go through the door over there." Erpai said ouch, ran to the door on the passenger side, opened the door, and Zhang Xiangbei said, "This is your car, Sister Xiang. I'll pat your butt before you get in the car. You're so dirty." Erpai chuckled, shook his hand back a few times, brushed the dust off his butt, and got in the car. Zhang Xiangbei started the car and walked out. Erpai suddenly became nervous, stared at Zhang Xiangbei and asked, "Are you taking me to the reservoir?" Zhang Xiangbei looked at him and didn't say yes or no. He continued to drive out of the village committee gate, turned left, and then accelerated his speed. Erpai sat there and saw that after he came out, he did not turn right towards the direction of the reservoir, but turned left, getting further and further away from the reservoir. He heaved a sigh of relief. He was really afraid that Zhang Xiangbei would throw him into the reservoir like Peng Shuangzi. "Thank you Brokeback Mountain for the reward of 2 fishes. Thank you for your monthly votes from Everlasting Emperor Yan, Zhao 1017, Xiang J, Fantasy in the Wind, Monkey Who Loves Cats, Yuingzi, Traveler Ye Buzan, and Book Friend 1608242103388521. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2160. The two of them were sitting in a sealed carriage, and waves of stench came from Erpai's side. Zhang Xiangbei pressed down the window halfway, and then he felt better. However, when the wind came from Erpai's side, the stench became even stronger and went straight to my forehead. Zhang Xiangbei scolded, "You said you made yourself look like a piece of shit. Even if a woman wants to sleep with you, she can't sleep with you." "Dai Mao, no woman would want to sleep with me," Erpai said nonchalantly. "Why not? If you clean yourself up and live a good life like a human being, the beautiful woman will probably not fall in love with you. You can still find an ordinary woman." "You are not stupid," Zhang Xiangbei said and laughed. "Of course there is still a distance between you and gangsters. Women like gangsters. You see, gangsters don't hug each other." Zhang Xiangbei glanced at Erpai as he spoke, and continued to smile. "However, those who can be rogues, although they are not as famous as rogues, are not stupid, but their brains are not used in the right place." Erpai turned to look at Zhang Xiangbei and said, "This person is just different from other people. I really envy you. You are good looking and rich. Even a woman like Sister Xiang wants to sleep with you, correct?" Erpai became excited as he spoke, turned around and asked Zhang Xiangbei, "Tell me, have you and Sister Xiang ever slept together?" "Go away," Zhang Xiangbei cursed, "you think everyone is like you." "Oh, God cannot allow it," Erpai sighed. "If a beauty like Sister Xiang smiles at me, all the bones in my body will be broken." "You idiot, you won't sleep with her even if she wants to. It's God's law, it's unbearable." Zhang Xiangbei laughed loudly and cursed, "If you keep talking nonsense, I will turn around and go to the reservoir." Okay, I'll shut up." Erpai quickly shut his mouth tightly. After a while, he couldn't help but ask again, "Sister Xiang smells so good. How can you sleep in the same room with her?" "Go away, we have 2 rooms," Zhang Xiangbei said. Erpai chuckled, and Zhang Xiangbei asked, "Why are you laughing?" "I've already looked out the window. There is only a layer of cloth between you two. Once the lights are turned off, there is nothing left. The quilt is thicker than your cloth," Erpai said. Zhang Xiangbei was shocked, turned around and glared at Erpai, and asked, "When did you lean on the window and peek?" "Yesterday, when you two went to the village." Erpai said that. Zhang Xiangbei breathed a sigh of relief. What he was worried about was that when Xiang Yun was taking a shower last night, this guy was near the toilet. Zhang Xiangbei drove the car to the countryside and stopped at the entrance of the old supply and marketing cooperative. He led Erpai into the clothing store where the clothes were being held for a conference. He pointed at Erpai and said to the proprietress, "Get him a suit of clothes, both inside and outside." The landlady took a look at Erpai. He was dirty and smelly. There was no way he could try on clothes. She could only look at his body and make a guess. She picked up a long-sleeved t-shirt, opened the outer packaging bag, held it up at the shoulders with both hands, and asked Zhang Xiangbei, "Is this okay?" Zhang Xiangbei said yes, 2 pieces, red and navy blue. "How big is your waist?" Zhang Xiangbei asked Erpai. Erpai said, "I don't know either." He should be 2 feet 5, said the landlady. There was a ruler in the store, but the landlady was afraid of giving him a second measurement. However, based on experience, she also knew that this guy's waist should be 2 feet 4 to 5 feet. If she quoted a larger size, she would definitely not be wrong. Zhang Xiangbei said yes, get him a pair of 2 foot 5 jeans, and a pair of elasticated sweatpants. After choosing this and then choosing a coat, the landlady pointed to the double-breasted suit hanging in the corner with a plastic sleeve on the outside and dust on the shoulders, and asked Zhang Xiangbei, "Is this suit good?" Zhang Xiangbei turned to Erpai and asked, "Do you like it?" Give it to me. Erpai looked at the suit, his mouth almost watered, and he said, I like it, of course I do. Give us this set too, Zhang Xiangbei said to the proprietress. After buying a suit, he went on to buy a belt and socks. Zhang Xiangbei wanted to buy him black socks, but Erpai insisted on white socks. Zhang Xiangbei said that only people in the countryside wear white socks now. Erpai said with a smile, I am from the countryside. Man, I love wearing white socks the most. I also bought a pair of travel shoes of an unknown brand. A box of 4 seemed to be Antarctic, but it was actually Antarctic, but the shorts were almost completely short. Zhang Xiangbei put all these into a large black plastic bag, and asked Erpai to carry it. He took out his mobile phone, paid with WeChat, and asked the landlady if there was a hotel nearby. The landlady said yes, so she went out and turned right, past the Longxi Hotel, and walked 100 meters further, when she saw a sign that said Longxi Hotel. But, the landlady said hesitantly. Zhang Xiangbei asked, what's wrong? That hotel is very shabby. It doesn't look like you are staying there. Boss, you look like you are doing big business, the landlady said considerately, but this is the only place where people live in the countryside. Aren't you driving a car? Let's go to the county seat. Zhang Xiangbei said thank you and led Erpai out without driving. The car parked here. The two people walked along the road at the door for more than 100 meters. Sure enough, they saw a 2-story building on the roadside with a Longxi Hotel sign hanging at the door. Zhang Xiangbei walked into a dimly lit room with no front desk. There was only a glass counter at the intersection of the stairs leading upstairs and the corridor on the first floor. There are cigarettes, towels, toothpaste, and toothbrushes inside the glass counter, as well as instant noodles, ham sausages, and multi-flavored peanuts. On top of the glass counter, there is a sign made of plexiglass, which reads, Accommodation Registration Forward. Inside the counter, there was a little girl sitting. Zhang Xiangbei walked over and asked, is there any room? The little girl said yes, the superior room costs 81 per night and the regular room costs 50 per night. Can I take a shower in the room? Zhang Xiangbei asked. Superior rooms are available, but ordinary rooms are not. You have to go to the toilet to wash up, the little girl said. Zhang Xiangbei said yes, then give me a superior room. The little girl slapped an accommodation registration form in front of Zhang Xiangbei and asked him to register his ID card. Zhang Xiangbei took out his ID card to register and paid the deposit. Zhang Xiangbei asked the little girl if there was anything in the room. No shampoo, body wash, or anything. It's here, the little girl tapped the glass counter with her finger. Would you like it? Zhang Xiangbei said yes. The little girl took out a plastic bag, which contained a combination of disposable toothbrushes, toothpaste, and compressed towels. Then she tore into packages of shampoo and asked Zhang Xiangbei how many packages he wanted. Zhang Xiangbei looked back at Erpai. Explain. Give me the whole thing. The little girl gave Zhang Xiangbei a 5-pack of shampoo, and then went to tear off the body wash. Zhang Xiangbei said no, please give me a piece of soap. Zhang Xiangbei then asked for another razor and told Erpai to shave the hair on my face. From the moment he entered the clothing store and knew that Zhang Xiangbei wanted to buy clothes for himself, Erpai had always been very good. He agreed to follow Zhang Xiangbei's almost everything. The hotel is very small, with only 8 rooms upstairs and downstairs. The superior room is upstairs. Zhang Xiangbei put all the things he just bought into the plastic bag that was used to carry clothes, and gave him the key. And said to him, you go upstairs and give me a good wash. After washing, put on new clothes and throw away all these. Do you hear me? If you don't wash well, I will take off all your clothes and leave you naked. The little girl giggled as she listened, and Erpai was impatient for a long time. He said, okay, brother Zhang, I will definitely wash myself cleaner than a beer bottle. Erpai carried the bag and went upstairs. Zhang Xiangbei walked to sit on a wooden sofa opposite the glass counter. There seemed to be traces of phlegm on the terrazzo floor. Zhang Xiangbei was careful not to step on it. Zhang Xiangbei took out his mobile phone, opened his mailbox, and read the reports that Malin sent him every day. The little girl inside the glass counter was lying on the counter with her chin resting on her arm. She stared at Zhang Xiangbei and suddenly asked, "Who are you, Erpai?" Zhang Xiangbei was stunned, looked up at her, and asked, "Do you know him?" "Of course, I am from Nianzhigo village, how could I not recognize him?" the little girl said. Zhang Xiangbei was surprised and asked, "Are you from Nianzhigo village too? Then why didn't I see you guys saying hello?" "Humph, who cares about him, this stinky scoundrel," the little girl said. "By the way, you haven't told me who you are." "I'm his brother, didn't you hear him call me?" Zhang Xiangbei said. "Come on, Erpai's mother. He died before I was born. His father died when I was in elementary school. He is the only one in his family. He has an older brother." As the little girl talked, she remembered, and she shouted, "I know, are you the boss Zhang of Zaixian Delivery? My mother called me earlier and asked me what she wanted to do in the village. She asked me to go back when I had time. She also said that a big boss came to help them. In the meeting, the boss who is bigger than Sister Xiang must be you, right?" Zhang Xiangbei smiled and said, "Do you think I look like me?" The little girl said, "You don't look very young, you are only a few years older than me, but you look very similar, especially when you do things." "What happened to what I was doing?" Zhang Xiangbei became interested, stood up and walked over to ask. "It's very simple, just do whatever you say." "Aren't those big bosses on TV all like this?" the little girl said, and Zhang Xiangbei laughed. "Have you watched too much TV about the domineering president?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. The little girl giggled and said, "You don't look like a domineering president." "Oh, what's different?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. The little girl stretched out her hand and wiped her face, and said to Zhang Xiangbei, "Their faces are all like this, cold, pretending to be cool, you are dash." The little girl raised her neck as she spoke, imitating Zhang Xiangbei's smile and said, "You can smile like this, and what's more, you can even be with people like Erpai." "Okay," Zhang Xiangbei said, "I'm not overbearing at all. Just like in your room here, they are senior presidents. I am a very lame kind of person who would be with Erpai." A bit the little girl nodded and said, "By the way, what are you going to do in our village?" From what the little girl said just now, Zhang Xiangbei heard that her mother needed her to go back and make up her mind, which meant that this little girl's words at home were useful. He immediately regarded her as someone he could win over and talk to her in detail. They started preparing for corporate transformation. "Thank you Felongzation for your monthly ticket. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2161. After Zhang Xiangbei finished explaining the matter, the little girl said, "My family is one of them. My family will definitely participate. I signed up first." "Don't you need to go back and discuss it with your parents?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. "No, my parents listen to me. My younger brother is still a little kid, so he has no right to speak," the little girl said. "By the way, can I join the company when I go back?" "Of course, why, you don't like it here?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. "I don't like it? There's no place like home here," the little girl said. "But when you come out, can't you see the world? Tch, this is a broken town, it's not Guangzhou or Shenzhen. Wherever you see the world, you'll always see people like Erpai," the little girl said disdainfully. "Hey, if you say so much, do you mean you don't want me?" Zhang Xiangbei smiled and said, "When you join the company, you will still do farm work. I'm afraid you won't be able to bear it. Tch, what's the point? I've been doing it since I was a child. But in the past, I couldn't make money, so I ran out to work. Since I joined your Suishui gang last year, I've been thinking about whether to go back. This time there are wages being paid in the village, why don't I go back and stay here to behave and look at other people's looks? The little girl is very articulate, and her mouth is like a faucet that keeps flowing. Zhang Xiangbei said, okay, then I will accept you now. By the way, what is your name? The little girl blushed and hesitated for a while. She said to Zhang Xiangbei, if I tell you my name, you are not allowed to laugh. Zhang Xiangbei smiled and said, okay, I won't laugh. The little girl pointed at him with her finger and stared at him. Zhang Xiangbei followed her example and wiped his face with his hand, becoming serious. My name is Ma Token, said the little girl. What? Morinukan, Zhang Xiangbei couldn't help laughing, but he stopped immediately and said to the little girl. I'm sorry, but your name is indeed a bit strange. Matoken sighed and said, I know, you think it is a Morinkan that can be played, right? No, I am Celery's Chin. There must be something special about a strange name. Tell me, what's so special about your name? Zhang Xiangbei asked. Oh shit, when my mother gave birth to me, the first celery crop in the field was ready to be harvested, so my father got me a horsehead celery. I later asked him, if the dog at home happened to give birth to puppies that day, what would you do? Are you going to name me Ma Goze? Zhang Xiangbei couldn't help it any longer and burst into laughter. Ma Token raised his hand and waved it at him, making a gesture of hitting him and scolding him. Still laughing, do you want to be so gloating? Just this bad name has caused me to be laughed at since I was in elementary school. You are not allowed to laugh. Zhang Xiangbei said seriously, okay, I won't laugh, but I think this name is quite good. Isn't the name just for people to remember him? I will remember your name after hearing it once. Ma Token looked at him and nodded, you kind of look like it now. Zhang Xiangbei was puzzled and asked, what does it look like? Bossy CEO, don't those people just like to talk nonsense like this with you? They talk about all the bullshit seriously and seem to make sense. Ma Token said. Zhang Xiangbei laughed, what you said makes sense. Hey, when did you go up? Ma Token called after Zhang Xiangbei. There was a man coming down from upstairs. Ma Token looked unfamiliar. She was sitting here and had never seen this person go up before, so she asked. Zhang Xiangbei turned around and was stunned. He didn't recognize the man, but he recognized the double-breasted suit he was wearing. Zhang Xiangbei shouted. I'll go. Erpai, you're good, he looks like an artist. After carefully washing Erpai, he looked younger than his actual age, as if he was only in his 30s, and the beard on his face had also been shaved off. That face still looked a bit delicate, but it turned out to be a disheveled head. Her long hair, now flowing smoothly around her head to shoulder length, does look a bit like an artist. He was wearing a bright red t-shirt underneath, and a grey double-breasted suit outside. Although the style of the suit was long out of date, it still fit him very well. On his feet was a pair of new travel shoes, with white cotton socks underneath. Erpai smiled at Zhang Xiangbei. His smile was a little shy, but when he opened his mouth and the yellow teeth, he immediately drew him back to Erpai. Are you Erpai? Ma Token didn't believe it either. She looked at Erpai and said, now you look more like a gangster. Gangsters all wear double-breasted suits. By the way, your hair needs to be pulled back. Come on, a big head. Zhang Xiangbei said yes, he also needed to apply hair wax. The two of them laughed after talking. Erpai stood there a little at a loss and his face was a little red. Where are the clothes? Zhang Xiangbei asked. Erpai pointed to the upstairs and said, it's up there. Go get it and let's go, Zhang Xiangbei said. Why, we don't live here. Haven't the money already been paid? Erpai asked. Idiot, the room is just for you to take a shower, Matoken scolded. You don't know how much water you use to wash yourself clean, and you don't know if you can earn back the room fee. Zhang Xiangbei said to Erpai, either you stay here while I go back, and you come back by yourself tomorrow. Take it away, don't let this gangster stay here, Matoken shouted quickly. I'll poke your mother's ass, Erpai cursed Matoken and walked back upstairs. Zhang Xiangbei checked out of the room and stood at the top of the stairs waiting for Erpai. After waiting for a long time, he saw Erpai appear at the top of the stairs. He walked down the stairs step by step with difficulty. His legs were spread apart and his hands were flat. Holding it up, holding the black bag in his right hand, the whole person looks like the word big. Without bending the knees of both legs, move one foot straight down, and then move the other foot straight down from the step. This is considered as completing one step. Zhang Xiangbei looked very surprised and asked, "What are you doing?" "Go down the stairs," Erpai said. "What's wrong with your legs?" "Did you hurt your legs?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. "Only people who hurt their legs would walk with their legs spread like this." "Dick hair," Erpai said, "if you walk this way, your clothes and pants won't wrinkle. Do you understand?" Zhang Xiangbei laughed loudly, and then he realized that the reason why his joints were not bent in this shape was to prevent wrinkles in his clothes and trousers. Zhang Xiangbei said, "Then you are still wrong. You should put the clothes on hangers and then walk around naked, so that they won't wrinkle at all. Come on, you will walk until dark like this. We can't even get to the car." Erpai smiled and finally returned to normal. He went down the stairs. Zhang Xiangbei waved goodbye to Matoken, and Matoken shouted, "Wait for me." "Waiting for you to poke my pussy?" Erpai asked. Matoken grabbed the stapler on the counter and threw it over, hitting Erpai on the back. Erpai said ouch and Zhang Xiangbei cursed. "You deserve it, you have such a bad mouth." When they got to the street, Erpai was wearing a brand new outfit, which attracted people's attention. Everyone turned to look at them. This made Erpai very proud, but at the same time, he seemed to not know how to walk. Sometimes he put his hands behind his back, and sometimes he walked forward with his chest held high. As a result, they were walking on the same foot, and Zhang Xiangbei watched from the side and secretly felt funny. Zhang Xiangbei asked Erpai, "Are you happy to wear new clothes?" "I'm happy, of course I'm happy. When I was 11 years old, after my mother died, I never wore new clothes again." When Erpai said this, it was completely smooth. Zhang Xiangbei felt tight in his heart and felt a little sad. He was 11 years old. When his mother died, he was younger than him. He had no clothes until he was 11. What a miserable life he lived if he had new clothes. "Your father doesn't care about you?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. "He just knew how to drink soup. When I was drunk, he would beat me with a stick. He beat me every day. Later, he drank too much and fell into an open pit and drowned. Haha, I can be as happy as I want. I laugh when I see people. When he was buried, I peed on his grave, and people in the village said I had no conscience. You idiot, my conscience had been beaten to death by him a long time ago," Erpai cursed. The two of them walked to the door of Longzi Hotel. Zhang Xiangbei looked at his watch. It was already time for dinner. Zhang Xiangbei said to Erpai, "I'll treat you to dinner, and we'll go back after dinner." Erpai shouted excitedly, Okay, okay, my stomach had been growling for a long time, but I was embarrassed to say it. "Are you also embarrassed sometimes?" Zhang Xiangbei asked with a smile. Dick hair, Erpai rolled his eyes at him. The two of them went in and sat down. The landlady took the menu and Zhang Xiangbei handed it to Erpai and told him, "Just order whatever you want." "Can I order all the above?" Looking at the menu, Erpai's eyes turned green and asked Zhang Xiangbei. Zhang Xiangbei said yes, just relax. Erpai ordered 6 dishes in one go, and when he wanted to order more, The landlady asked, "How many of you are there?" "You're blind, you didn't see the two of us," Erpai cursed. "For two people, there are already too many dishes," the proprietress reminded. Zhang Xiangbei said. It's okay, just let him order it." The landlady curled her lips and continued writing on a piece of paper. Erpai ordered a table full of more than a dozen dishes. After ordering the food, Erpai rubbed his hands and kept shaking his head. He couldn't wait any longer. Zhang Xiangbei asked, "Would you like a drink?" "I want it," Erpai said, turning his head and calling over there, "Madam Boss, bring me a bottle of Chinese peony." "No," the landlady said, "I only have Furukawa Prefecture's special song, do you want it?" "I want a bottle," Erpai said. After ordering the wine and waiting for the food to be served, Erpai looked at Zhang Xiangbei and laughed. Zhang Xiangbei asked, "Why are you laughing?" "We're cleared." "What's clear?" "You hurt me, but now I don't feel pain anywhere." You," Zhang Xiangbei scolded. Erpai took the roll of paper from the table, tore off a section and spread it on his left leg. Then he tore off another section and spread it on his right leg. Zhang Xiangbei asked, "What are you doing?" Erpai said, "This way when the vegetable soup drips on it, it won't get dirty." Zhang Xiangbei laughed, "So you are also afraid of getting dirty?" "Of course, these are new clothes," Erpai said. "Elaborate." "Not bad." Zhang Xiangbei gave Erpai a thumbs up. "Lady boss, bring me a bowl of beef pulp." A fat middle-aged man came in from outside and said to the boss lady. Erpai turned his head to look and shouted, "Old Uncle Chiao." The fat man looked towards them and saw that the two people sitting there didn't know each other, so he ignored them. Erpai quickly shouted again, "Old Uncle Chiao, it's me, Erpai." The fat man was stunned for a moment and walked toward them with suspicious eyes. He stared at Erpai for a while and shouted, Hey, you are really Erpai? My mother, if you put on these new clothes, my uncle won't even recognize you." "You bought this stick for me," Erpai chuckled. Lao Jiao looked at Zhang Xiangbei and Erpai said, "This guy is the boss of Zaixian Delivery." When Lao Jiao heard this, he quickly reached out to Zhang Xiangbei. Zhang Xiangbei also stood up and held his hand. Lao Jiao kept saying, Hello, are you Mr. Zhang?" Zhang Xiangbei nodded and said, "It's me, are you Director Jiao?" "Yes, I just came back. When I got here, I was greedy, so I wanted to eat a bowl of slurry and then walk back to the village." Lao Jiao and Zhang Xiangbei said. Zhang Xiangbei said quickly, "Eat together and go back together after eating." "We drove here." Zhang Xiangbei scolded Erpai, "Hurry up and get the cups and bowls and chopsticks." "Thank you for the reward of 2 fishes." "Thank you Guzio Kyokyu, GH7777, Romantic Cherry Blossoms, Too Many Ronalds, I Love Purple, Lao Dibao Ei, Administrator of the 3rd floor of the library, Biniang Aki, Civilized Reading, Book Friends 201711222042038851, Books Monthly Votes for Friend 140420143337580, Book Friend 1312231242367881, and Book Friend 202007312053033948. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health.